It's a new day, new day, new day. Beginning.
Right boot from the tough angle. Launched in the pack and clutched it. How did he get free in the goal square?
The handball off to English. Oh, he's got to be quick. He's caught.
Grandstand AFL.
Right foot, Bruno, nah.
Off the deck, it's beautiful. That's a monster kick.
There's a penalty.
Wow. What a finish.
ABC Sports coverage of the 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
ABC Sport. AFL.
Gets set for the deafening roar. The pent-up emotion is about to flow.
Listen to the crowd roar.
AFL.
Fans are on their feet. Can't believe what they're about to see.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season. Grandstand AFL.
We got a game on our hands here. This is really good, fierce stuff.
This is a fantastic game of football. Someone told me there was something wrong with our game. I can't see it today. Actually, it's a spectacular contest.
Dreamers, keep on dreaming.
Oh, the impossible angle.
Sinners, keep on sinning.
Don't go anywhere. The theatre of it all.
Winners, keep on winning.
And he dribbles one through and blows a kiss to the crowd.
It's a new day, beginning.
Breaks the paint, has a shot, makes no mistake.
Sends it to home. A sublime strike.
Hard against the boundary. That's a classy finish. That is sensational.
Can he slide it through for the finish? Yes, he can. Wide angle on the paint of 50. May have just snuck through an incredible goal. Tries to bend off. Got him. Takes him to ground. Back to that Nui. Second, don't argue.
Go to your best players. Go to your match winners.
Plays on Mo down from behind. Holding the ball.
Perfect tackle.
It might be a game saver.
Dreamers, keep on dreaming.
Ricochets to Martin. You know the rest. The razzle dazzle has arrived.
That is spectacular.
It's a new day, new day, new day, beginning.
On the boot, kicks the goal. Welcome to the big time.
Oh, great mark. Outside of the boot, Eddie. Oh,
He has kicked it, makes no mistake, goes back.
straightens up towards goal and brings it back superbly. Here's that familiar roar. Double fist salute to the crowd. They might have a new fan favourite. He'll snap, he'll go. A ripper from Gripper. Snaps off a single step and bends it through.
Grandstand AFL. The 2021 AFL Premiership season
Dribbles it through and ends the game.
on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
The past four premierships are owned by these two teams. 3 for Richmond and the only other to the West Coast Eagles in 2018. It's a matchup we've seen all too infrequently during that period. Only 4 times they've met in the last 4 seasons. Their styles are like chalk and cheese, and how will they meld today? That's what we'll find out inside Perth Stadium. Great to have your company. My name is Ben Cameron. I'm joined by the Fremantle 300 gamer David Mundy, a Brownlow medalist in Shane Woden. They'll provide all of the analysis. And joining me in commentary once again is Clint Wilden. Welcome, Clint. We haven't seen it very often. It's going to be exciting to see the Eagles and the Tigers go at it tonight.
And for Richmond, who travel rarely to the West, another opportunity to see them after what was simply a dominant final term performance against Essendon in the Dreamtime game. So the Tigers should be up and about again, and you would think West Coast would be as well. We're under enormous pressure last week, having to go to Sydney to take on Carlton. All sorts of injury woes. Well, they get back on top of having the win and bringing the 4 points back to Perth. They get back the likes of Kennedy, Allen and Duggan tonight, the West Coast Eagles. It bodes as a tremendous game of football. Can't wait to see it here with you, Benny.
Now, there is some news that the West Coast Eagles were expecting a late change, so Jake Waterman likely to be included in place of Jack Petruccelli, who's expected to be the late omission or the late out, and Xavier O'Neill will be the medi-sub for the West Coast Eagles, waiting on final team confirmation from Richmond as we move through the pre-game. Shane Woden is a Brownlow medalist and he's back on this Sunday evening out west. Welcome, Wowie.
Benny, afternoon. Good to be here again.
Looking forward to it. As we said, chalk and cheese are the two styles, and really interested to see how they go against each other tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. What I call control v chaos. So Richmond want it on the ground and surge forward and create that chaos that we do know. Particularly their high forwards who can get up and get back really quickly, which is probably one of their strengths of their list profile, isn't it? With their speed across half forward, and their ability to get the ball forward to, a kick mark game, particularly in their back half, West Coast, but what they've got down the line and their forward stocks are pretty dangerous too. So for me, and midfields will match up and go head to head, which most midfields do in the modern footy. But for me today, again, it's the bookends and the dominance there. Forward v back in both 50s. So that they're the exciting matchups, and may provide the winners in the game.
David Mundy, fresh off 20-2 yesterday, a goal umpire at Auskick this morning. What can't he do? You've experienced these two styles out on the field. How would you articulate them? Welcome.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. It's been a busy 24 hours. I've been, on the frustrating end of both of these teams. As well, we said, control versus chaos. West Coast with their system set up the ground so well and defend as a complete unit together. And then, when they get the ball, not afraid to just slowly build the ball up to retain a bit of field position once they head into their 50. And Richmond, the complete opposite, absolute chaos, kick it long to their tools, and they're trying to bash it over their head and get their smalls onto the ball really quickly. So we saw firsthand last week, Richmond here in the Dreamtime game, and they were really impressive. And so I'm looking forward to a great game tonight.
You are someone who has had some success against Richmond as well. For a long period, their last defeat at the MCG was when you kicked the goal. I think not quite after the siren. It was just before the siren, wasn't it, against Richmond? Or have I got that wrong?
No, that was the one before the last one.
Yeah.
The last one was after the siren.
Yeah, okay, my mistake. But you have had some success. That was the point of the story. Let's not lose the moral of it. Shea Bolton. Shane Edwards is out there as well for Richmond. But Shea Bolton and how important he's become for this Richmond team. Teams would love to have two Dustin Martins, and they almost do at the moment with the emergence of Shea Bolton.
Yeah, Shea is immense. He's really grown into an absolute match winner. I'd almost say he's as important as Dustin Martin. Certainly last week he really stood up in some real key moments, and I mentioned it last week, but Richmond's ability to get their absolute superstars into the game in critical moments to affect the game either with goals or setting up goals is second to none, and Shea is certainly a key part of that.
What is it about him, Wowie, that he does or is doing particularly well to elevate his game?
Both ends. Like, he can win clearance, which is important in today's footy to give you field position. Because, I don't know, Dave, I'm not sure what size he is compared to the strength of him in there. But when he goes forward, his inside 50 craft, aerial presence, stuff on the ground, his dynamic movement is dangerous. It's hard to tackle. Go both ways. It goes up, goes down. They're hard to match up on. So do you put a tall player on him in forward and try and bullock him around, or do you put a small and try and get his ground level stuff? So he's got some great flexibility in his game.
Speaking of other Richmond players, one of them returning. I mentioned the big Eagles coming back, but you shouldn't ignore Lambert returning for Richmond. He's a big in for them. Coming back after 6 weeks with the calf injury, 3-time premiership player. He really does add grunt and class to the Tigers.
Critically important to their systems as well. He typically starts that half forward and works his way up into the midfield to release the Shea Bolton or the Dustin Martin forward. So, through their premiership years was critically important in that setup. So it'll be good to see tonight.
Just finishing on Shea Bolton too, 175 and 77. So he's not actually that big, but plays taller with what he can do overhead. And we saw that earlier on in the season with his potential mark of the year. It might have been pinched from him by his teammate in Jack Riewoldt a little bit later on as well. Just quickly, out of you two, which mark was better? Was it Bolton's or was it Riewoldt's?
Bolton.
I'll say Riewoldt.
Yeah. Which one are you going with, Benny?
I think Riewoldt just.
Yeah.
I think Riewoldt just because of the added difficulty of running back with the flight.
I'm with Jack as well.
But took it forward.
Yeah, well, he contorted his body. And he
it was a good mark.
It was both are fantastic marks.
I was declaring that nothing would beat Bolton, and about 2 weeks later, wrong. Mind you, there is a chance we might see it again snatched, because we've got those two Tigers high flyers, and then Liam Ryan, who I reckon had mark of the year before Bolton took it away, will be out there tonight trying to do his best as well.
The other individual, or one of the real positives for Richmond this year, has been Callum Coleman-Jones. It feels like they continue to find them, and he's playing well, Callum Coleman-Jones, isn't he, as someone who has come into the team and really delivered for Richmond recently.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting too when Lynch is ready. Again, with their system and how it all works for them? Do they go the 3 talls or just remain with the 2 and Coleman Jones misses out? And if he's still in good form and being consistent with that, that's a hard match committee discussion, that one.
Yeah, it's the strength of their team, their group. They've remained relatively healthy over their successful years, and so they've had these guys kind of waiting in the wings, matched them against, arguably the best team in the last 4 years, and so it's a really great practice ground to bring that new talent in.
And David, you're possibly about 10 games away from being the most travelled footballer of all time, I think, if you can go past Matthew Pavlich. So, interesting, Richmond, they decided to return from WA to Sydney, spent the week there with the thought process that, well, we can live normally in Sydney rather than being in quarantine with allowances to train here in Western Australia. But how much do you think that will be an impact when you've had to fly here, fly back to Sydney and then come back once more in a relatively short period of time?
I think it will have some sort of impact, particularly a team like Richmond who don't travel often. Their players probably not used to it. Particularly the younger cohort who are probably a little less structured in their preparation leading into the game. So a 5-hour flight to Sydney is not ideal both ways in 1 week. So arguably could play some part, but we know that they're a well-structured, well-disciplined team. So.
Clint, you did do the trip earlier this week.
I'm still cool.
On Friday.
Yeah,
still catching up.
Yeah, had the trip across on Thursday. It was great to go to the SCG for the first time in 3 years. It was wonderful, and what a performance from Hawthorn too. But having to come back on Saturday and having to get out of bed at what is 3 o'clock WA time and then come to the footy here, which is always a privilege. But yeah, it does that 5 and a bit hour trip, having to do it in quick succession. So they've done it, 3 times now. Having to go from Melbourne, and then they came across for the Dreamtime game and then went back and they'd come back again. So, yeah, it's a solid flight. I do think the Melbourne clubs sometimes, because normally you're flying, Brisbane, Sydney, Hobart, Adelaide is nowhere near.
2 hours.
Yeah, nowhere near.
Bus ride.
Well, it is compared to, I got to sneak in 2 movies on the way back yesterday. By the way, Girls Can't Surf, great doco, highly recommend it. If for no other reason to our ABC listeners, you will get to see a dapper 1987-odd Jimmy Maxwell presenting a story on Jodie Cooper. It's worth tuning in just to see Jimmy Maxwell from the 1980s. Goodness me, he was a dapper young man.
I wouldn't have thought Bondi would have been a huge issue for the Tigers.
True.
The travel.
Yeah,
I would enjoyed a beautiful Sydney week.
Yeah, a bit cold over there though.
Just repeating as well, if you've joined us late, North Melbourne and GWS has finished in a draw down in Tasmania, 14-10, 94 apiece. So 14-10, 94 apiece. A couple of late chances for the Giants they couldn't quite take, and the points shared in that fixture. The West Coast Eagles, last week, threadbare, missing so many key players. They're able to go over and win against Carlton. What will that do for the group moving forward for the second half of the season after this fixture and after their bye?
I think it instills a lot of confidence in the group, doesn't it? Particularly the young group. And I think for Simo and his match committee also that it provides, again, another opportunity. They get to see younger players in the heat of battle in crucial times play their role. So it might give them great confidence too that if they're called upon again, they can step in and fill the breach.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they would have set themselves last week as a little bit of a, let's get this done. They hadn't won at the CG for a long time, and a little bit of a mission away from home to really galvanise the group. And as they come back home now and tippy-toe their way back to full health, I think you're right. The confidence in the group and in the younger guys that they're up to it and capable moving forward will put them in good stead.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be the real difficulty for the West Coast Eagles. A lot of people think, sometimes if you can keep yourself in the reckoning, you get players back. But the issue is what version of themselves do they come back as? So Luke Shuey, who all of a sudden has had 5 hamstrings and 7 soft tissue injuries in 12 months, if he comes back, the week after the bye, is he the Luke Shuey that we know and expect him to be? Elliot Yeo's easing back from 297 days out of the game and trying to readjust. Whenever we speak to players, I say it time and time again, why have you had a good season? I had a full pre-season.
Yeah.
I'm really fit. So that is the difficulty. You might tiptoe the line and get them back healthy, but what version of themselves are you getting back?
Oh, you're not getting back the complete player. Expectation internally would certainly be that as well. you're not going to be in the form that you probably once were, or even on the back of a big pre-season. So it is time and minutes, and you're going to be at the back end of the year where it's really, really important, and that's where your senior players and those leaders who have got quality preparation when in the back end, when it's fighting, you need to be going, that's when they become really good players.
I was going to mention, you brought up Shuey, so he'll come into a midfield group led by Gaff, Sheed, Redden, really, so they'll take the brunt of it and really drive the team, and what you're hoping for is that Yo, as he's building fitness now, and Shuey, when he comes back in, just kind of slots in, does enough to contribute, and then he builds his way into it.
And the thing he discussed with us when we spoke to him a little while ago was that they were monitoring his running patterns and how he does work across the ground, and he's going to have to change that, basically was what he said. So that'll be interesting to watch when he does return, given how many soft tissue injuries he has had of late. Just a quick one, David. We spoke about it a little bit last week, and particularly in the wake of the Dreamtime game here, a few questions about the surface. How did you find it yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday was good. It was our first daytime game for a little while. We normally get the evening shift on a Sunday.
Off Broadway, we call it up here.
The graveyard shift, we call it at Coburn. But, so during the day yesterday it was really nice. It's a beautiful winter's day in Perth yesterday. The sun was shining, not a cloud in the sky.
Okay, that's good to hear about Perth Stadium's surface out there. A few people unhappy with it. Richmond just going through their paces. We're not too far away from being joined by Andrew McQualter.
You mentioned about Eagles coming back. Well, I'm really pleased to say Willie Rioli has been back on social media in a positive way, putting a message out to his fans a week out from his return. So the forward has 7 days left before he can come back and train on June 20 with the West Coast Eagles. And he put out a little social media tweet today saying, alongside some vision of him kicking drills, lifting weights, working on his goal kicking, he said that he's been through hell and back. And when you hit your darkest days, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then you can say that I've made it through hell and back, Rioli said. This isn't for you, but for my sons, to show them that we can get out of the darkness. So the 26-year-old back in Perth, and you would expect to be back at the West Coast Eagles in 7 days' time. And then I guess they're trying to look to build him up to see if he can play a role in the finals. It would be a tremendous boost if he's got his fitness at a level where he can play, because I still maintain he was one of the key reasons for their 2018 premiership success. He was simply outstanding.
Good player. Yeah, and missing. He's been an important cog to that half-forward group, and just what he provides inside 50, and again, his natural craft and exciting skills, he just gives something different again to their forward half mix.
It is the point, as Ben was making before, about not getting a full pre-season. He obviously hasn't had a full pre-season, but if you get a big chunk in, he'll almost have a pre-season within himself, because he's just not able to play for, I think it's 8 or 12 weeks afterwards. So maybe they can put a fair bit of work into Willie Rioli and make him right. What would you be thinking if you were a player under those circumstances, David? You're getting back, you know you start, but you know that there's a chunk of time before you actually have to play. They can't rush him back because they're not allowed to, but they can put some work into it.
Yeah, well, I guess first and foremost, hopefully coming back into the football environment gives him that structure that he can help himself off field and away from the football club. But I think Willie's greatest strength has always been his class, touch, and his football now. So it's never been his gut-busting runs down the field or anything like that. He's one of the best one-touch players I've seen in my time. And, yes, I think it won't take him long to get that back with a little bit of training.
Yeah, it'll be great to see him back out there when he does return. Undoubtedly has made a few mistakes, but it'll be tremendous to see him back out there for the West Coast Eagles when he does return. Clint, do we have any news as yet on the final Richmond team? We had some suggestion that there would be a late change for the West Coast Eagles, with Xavier O'Neill to be the Medi sub and replacing Jack Petruccelli, with Jake Waterman coming into the team.
So no late changes for Richmond. We knew, of course, that Prestia was missing with the hamstring injury. That news came through on Friday, and they brought Ryan Mansell into that extended bench. But the emergencies, as expected, Mansell, Martin and Miller. And the man in what is a growing number of outstanding mullets, but really I think Hugo Ralphsmith is stamping a claim for the best mullet in the AFL. He will be the medical sub, and if I hope no one gets hurt, But if it does happen to happen tonight and you hear it at the ground, do check out the do for Hugo Ralphsmith. It is a neck blanket to be proud of. You could wrap yourself up in that on a cold Melbourne night, I'd reckon.
If we can digress for just a moment, it is very in vogue at the moment for the short sides and everything else to be normal. I think you educated us, David, that they call it the dragon, the young kids these days. Is that right?
Yeah, the Lebanese dragon, I've been told. Andy Brayshaw in particular loves it. He's recommended it to me, told me to go to his barber and he'll sort me out, but I think I'll avoid that one.
Yeah, I don't think it's for any of us up here. I think we'll leave that to the young kids out there in the middle. Just looking back to last week with Andrew McQualter not too far away from joining us, Richmond in that final quarter when they kicked the 7 unanswered goals to win the game, what were your key takeaways, both of you? What did they do particularly well in that period, and why are they able to perform better than any other team when the lights are the brightest and when they really need to in those big moments?
They just changed gears, didn't they? I don't think Essendon would do anything wrong. You were here, Dave. You were the one casting an eye on it all too. I was seeing it from the television point of view, but for me, they raised their intensity levels, and I think Dimmer is being highlighted saying it just kept raising the fight too with it, and they just took it to Essendon, and Essendon didn't change gears, and they just couldn't go with them.
Yeah, I think up until the fourth quarter when Essendon made the fight back, the difference in the game was how Richmond were working their way from the contest through Essendon's pressure into their forward line. And so Essendon, when they got back into the game, that's what they were executing really well. They were able to pressure, win the ball in those contested situations and move the ball forward themselves. So I think Richmond were just able to flick that switch, get their best guys around the ball and execute.
Let's find out from inside the camp. Steve Allen is downstairs with Andrew McQualter from the Richmond camp.
Thank you, Ben. Andrew, how does it feel to be back after Dreamtime just over a week ago?
Yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind of a week, but it's such an incredible stadium to play at, so we were rapt to be able to come back here and play again.
How have the boys handled the week? Obviously, you make the trip twice in 8 days, spending the week in Sydney.
Yeah, look, we had a great week in Sydney. We had a little bit lighter restrictions than we had here in Perth, so we decided to go back and had a great week of training, and the travel won't be an issue for the guys.
I'll share with the commentary team. We've got Ben Cameron, Clint Wheeldon, David Mundy and Shane Woden.
Okay. Good afternoon, mate. Welcome WA again. Shane Woden here, and good luck for today. Mate, halfway through the season and still a lot of footy to go. Where does the club feel like they're at right now?
Yeah, thanks, Shane. It's a good question. I think everyone knows we didn't play our best footy for the first half of the year. We had a few challenges with injuries and the way the game was being played, but hopefully over the last month we've built a bit of momentum, and we can continue that for the rest of the year.
How's Dimmer themed the season for this for 21?
Oh, I think probably the biggest theme we have consistently is just doing it together. So footy's a pretty tough game if you end up trying to do things by yourself. So we keep coming back to the team, and that's what Dimmer speaks about the most.
Yep, mate. Last one for me too, mate. It's interesting too because everyone knows in the footy world how successful the club's been over the last 3 or 4 years, but internally. Not just necessarily from a playing group point of view, but coaches, staff. How does a club stay so hungry?
Well, it's from the top. So Dimmer, Trent, I think that's how they remain hungry. Dustin's probably a great example of it. We've got a really good core of leaders who I think once you sort of get addicted to winning, and those guys have definitely been like that over the last few years. And none of those years have been easy. There's been lots of challenges along the way, but at the end of the day, the winning feeling, that's what everybody's chasing.
Mini Dave Mundy here, mate. Good luck tonight.
Thanks,
must be nice. You lose down Prestia, but you bring in Kane Lambert. Must be a nice position to be in.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have them both, to be honest. But, yeah, we're rapt to have Kane back. Really important player for us. He's missed 6 weeks, so he might take a little bit to get going again. But, yeah, really important player for us, and it's great to have him back.
Andrew, it's Ben Cameron here. What do you anticipate the West Coast Eagles will do with Dustin Martin and Shea Bolton tonight?
Oh, look, it's a good question. I'm sure they'll have some plans in place. I think those guys, we try and make them so they're pretty flexible and they can adjust to the game the way they see fit. It's probably one of Dustin's great strengths over the years. He's learnt how to attack games in many different ways, and it looks different for him every week. So I'm sure they'll have some plans, but hopefully we've got some things to be able to counter that.
Andrew, Clint Wilden here. Did you have some problems with the surface last week in the Dreamtime, and have you been able to think you've sorted that out footwear-wise this time?
Yeah, it was a bit slippery last week, wasn't it? But I think probably early in the game it certainly affected us, and I'm sure the guys will have adjusted their footwear at half time, quarter time, and then hopefully start the game we don't fall over as much as we did last week.
Such an impressive way to finish that contest, and there were a few questions being raised about Richmond, but when you can put a side away like you did against Essendon, did you feel within a group that's sort of some of the best footy you played this year, that last quarter?
Yeah, it's probably a good pickup. I think we've played patches throughout the whole year, but certainly to put it together for that 15-minute period and be able to put it on the scoreboard was the most important part. Certainly our contested ball stats were really high in that period, and to be able to finish was really pleasing for the guys.
I must admit, Andrew, I found it really fascinating and telling as to how good this Richmond side is when I heard Damien Hardwick speaking in his post-match press conference, and he said that he knew Essendon were going to come out. I think he called it their blitz attack in that final quarter, but he forgot to tell the guys. So can you explain that to me? What happened?
You would think that's his only job, wouldn't you?
Yeah. One job.
No, look, I just think that at any time, when a team's down at three-quarter time, they try and play more aggressively with their ball movement. So that's not just Essendon, that's any team trying to win a game. So we probably just didn't touch off on it as we should have, and we'll make those adjustments going forward.
Andrew, a last one from me. Jack Revolt, is he aware that he's 4 shy of 700? Is he that sort of player in terms of goals?
Do you know Jack? Jack's been counting since goal 1. He is well aware of how many goals he's on and how many he needs to... that's a 700, is it? Yeah, I'm sure he's well aware of it.
He'll be the 24th player to do so. It'll be something special to see it here tonight.
Yeah, he's having a great year, Jack. He's playing a terrific role for us, and... been rewarded with some more goals this year, and he's playing some great footy.
Andrew, last time I spoke to you, I think you'd been a little overzealous, got involved in training and injured your Achilles. Is that fully healed?
No, well, it was actually social basketball. I probably need to give that up as well. But so that was the start of this year. I ruptured my Achilles. I just started jogging this week, so it's a bloody slow process, but it's getting better. I'm too old.
Best of luck with that moving forward. Thanks for your time,
All
Andrew.
Right. Good on you guys. Thank you.
There is Andrew McQualter from Richmond chatting to us pre-game. A few issues driving to the basket and snapped his Achilles.
Yeah, I broke my foot doing the same thing.
Yeah, me too.
At Brisbane as a coach. Yeah, not a great feeling.
No.
What were you doing?
Playing social basketball. Yeah, myself, Vossi, and a couple others. Thursday night, wherever it was, local team, and landed on someone's foot. Had to travel to Adelaide the next day and play the Crows, and had to get special exemption, a bit of fly with a moon boot, and coming down on crutches on a moon boot from the box to a game. It wasn't great.
I can imagine Vossi's the kind of guy who'd remain pretty relaxed during a social basketball game. He wouldn't get too carried away, would he?
A bit heated, big man, competitor.
I like it. That's what
What is it about footballers and social basketball? I know Adam Simpson was heavily involved as well.
Got to have a balance, don't you? Yeah, can't be consumed with the computer all the time.
It is, I mentioned before, Jack Revolt, but it would be something truly special. Only 23 players have been able to achieve the 700 goal mark. The last one to do so, we've had to wait, and I mean this with respect, we've had to wait a while. Matthew Pavlich was the last player to be able to reach that milestone, and you would think, fingers crossed, that the next player to do so will also be in action here tonight, which is Josh Kennedy, who's not that far away himself on 669. So, yeah, it's a tremendous achievement bringing up that mark.
And, of course, Matthew Pavlich did it in what was his final game, his 353rd and final game, and I'll long remember the late Shane Yarran running in the pocket, and he had a moment where it looked like he was going to put it on the boot, and Pav was all alone in the goal square, and for whatever reason he sort of just changed his mind. I thought I better give it over the top, and Pavlich in the open goal square was able to bang it through. But I clearly remember the moment where I thought, oh no, he's going to snap this. You've got to give it. You've got to give it, and finally he did, and Pavlich was able to kick his 700th goal. Time to head down into the West Coast Eagles camp. Steve Allen has made a little walk across, and he's got Adrian Hickmott with him. Steve.
Thanks, Ben. I've got Adrian Hickmott from the West Coast Eagles, and I understand there's been a late change. What can you tell us about that?
So Petricelli goes out, and young Xavier O'Neill is our sub. and we'll play Jermaine Jones. Yeah.
What's the issue there with Petch?
I just come up a bit sore from last week, just the body, so we thought the rest is better than nothing, just a slight niggle here and there.
So you're coming off a memorable win and you add some key personnel to the team. What does that do for the side's confidence?
Yeah, JK, as we know, and Oscar Allen down forward, they've got presence and good leadership amongst them both. So that's going to help us in that area. And young Liam Duggan comes back after, I think, 4 to 5 weeks, working really hard on the sidelines in his rehab program. Comes back in the side, and he's a pretty skillful young man, and he's got pretty good leadership too.
I'll send you upstairs to Ben Cameron, Clint Wheeldon, David Mundy and Shane Woden.
G'day, Adrian. Shane Woden. Good luck today, mate. In charge of the mids at the moment. Where's the opportunity laid for the midfield group today?
Yeah, it's going to be a good battle, isn't it, Shane? So the midfield is where it starts. There's no doubt about that from the centre bounce and onwards. So, look, we want a real good contest in there. Go head-to-head with the guys and, last 4 quarters. That's the aim and be consistent throughout those 4 quarters.
They had some inconsistencies in there in terms of maybe personnel sometimes, lost some leadership with Yowie. Know he's back now and Shuey, but the opportunities provided for some younger types has come through there, but they're just probably not grasping that spot at the moment.
Yeah, young Luke Edwards played his first game last week and, he showed a bit, so he stays in the side. And then you got Xavier O'Neill. He's working on his craft and his footy. Along with the other guys like, Redden, Sheed, and young Gaffey, they're holding their own in there as well.
So with Xavier, whereabouts is he? I know he's very young in terms of his career and his development, his craft and stuff like that, but his consistency is better play multiple games in a row and get some form into his career. Where does he sit with that? If he's in and out all the time?
Yeah, it's probably just that consistency. You're a young fella. It's a hard midfield to get in when they're all back, the guys. So, just playing consistent footy throughout 4 quarters. And, look, week by week, and we know it's a tough environment to do that. So he's working on it. He's getting better and better each game. So, he's going well. He's just got to be patient and keep working at those little things.
Yeah, it's hard being patient as a young kid, isn't it?
Yeah, spot on. I've been through that. I think most has been through that before.
Liam Duggan back in. Huge in for you as a group. And he was playing some really good football before he was injured. Does he come back through the midfield, or does he just slot into half back and settle back into AFL footy again?
He'll come back through the midfield for a start. We know he can play back, and he plays back really well. So we'll keep him in the midfield, and he's been doing that over the last 3 weeks in our little small practice matches we play, and through the craft he's learning every week in and week out. So he'll slot back in there.
Adrian, David Mundy here, mate. Good luck today. Looking across the other side of the fence to a couple of Richmond superstars, Dustin Martin, Shea Bolton in particular. Are there any specific matchups we should be looking out for, particularly when they're kind of moving between those mid and forward lines?
Yeah, g'day, mate. Well, that's what they do. They actually move through the mid and forward a fair bit during the game. So we've got our plan in place. But to keep an eye on those guys is they're fantastic players, and they're sharp, and they can run, and they're extremely useful with the football. So they've got a fair bit of talent between them and the rest of the guys in there. So as they run through the mid and the forward line, we'll just have to be aware of that throughout the game.
Adrian Hickmott, one of the assistant coaches for the West Coast Eagles, is with us downstairs. Adrian, Clint Wheeldon here. Tell us a little bit about what changed with your preparation when you knew that this game was being moved forward for West Coast.
Yeah, well, over the last 2 years, there's been a bit of change. So the change is more about setting a plan in place for the week ahead, which we've done. If guys have, may have booked holidays or may have booked a couple of things, we're really open-minded, and it is what it is. So then we went back to our routine from a 7-day break and went straight into the training, trained 3 times during that week, and went on with our business.
Can I ask you I know you hate looking forward, but after the bye, are you expecting to get a whole group of players back? I would imagine the likes of Shuey, McGovern, Kelly would be around the mark for being available again after the week off.
Yeah, it's hard to look forward, isn't it? But, it's scary to do that also. But, as long as they keep working, getting through each session throughout the week in their rehab program, which they are doing at the moment, we expect Yeah, over those few weeks, if they get through and to pull through their sessions, slowly but surely come back in.
Another one long-termer just away from this game, but Willie Rioli, is the expectation he'll return to the club in the next week or so?
I'm not 100% across that. We have put in plans in place for Willie, so time will tell with that.
Cameraman just whacking you as you're downstairs chatting to us.
On the back of the leg, you got me.
No, it'd be very distracting for me as well. One thing I am looking forward to today, and I know they'll play at opposite ends of the ground, but the high fly-a-thon. Liam Ryan, is he keen to try to take back the mark of the year from either Jack Riewoldt or indeed Shea Bolton?
Yeah, I'm not sure he's thought of that, but he's he does he likes to jump. He's a good come and watch player like Shane Bolton and Dustin Martin and the type. So, yeah, he's keen to go out there and really enjoy his footy. So I think when he enjoys his footy, you'll see, hopefully see the best out of him.
And from all the positives that you took out of the Carlton game with so many players injured, but just the effort around the football and to try to win the contest, what was the one message, or was there a key message that you brought from that game going into this one against Richmond?
I think you've said it's the effort around the contest and the effort over four quarters. If you're going to play the best in the top four sides or top eight sides, you need to play consistent footy throughout four quarters. So that's our aim today.
Adrian, best of luck. We appreciated your time.
Good on you guys. Thanks for the chat.
There is Adrian Hickmott from the West Coast Eagles having a chat to us pre-game. The Richmond Football Club are out on the ground wearing their traditional black jumper with the yellow sash. They've got their white shorts on ahead of this fixture today. The West Coast Eagles, their inflatable beak is inflated, a contentious inflatable beak. They're not too far away from running out of that and entering the ground. The umpires are out there as well, so not too far away from getting started. We've spoken about it a little bit, but I'm truly fascinated by the styles. The fact that these are the last four premierships are owned by these two teams. Richmond dominant with their 3 premierships in that period, the Eagles in 2018. But the styles are just so different. The Eagles are swimming upstream. It feels like everyone's going one way. Even the replica of Melbourne, Essendon are now mimicking Richmond, while West Coast continue to try and play their own way. So it's going to be like water and oil mixing today, I think, when these two styles collide.
Yeah, interesting to hear from Dave too, modern day player, combating these two styles of footy and handy to stop both too. We've seen in West Coast here where they do build up their play with their kicks, and you see a lot of high forwards press up the ground and allow West Coast to be able to kick the ball around and build their play up, or do you really want to just force them long and skinny all day? So, I've always thought that would be the case and win the contest and then get it back in your front half. You don't really want to allow West Coast to build their play up, particularly early in the game, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of their absolute strengths, kicking the ball around, setting up the field. So when they are forced to go long, if they can't get through, that they're in really good shape, really good structure to pressure the ball or win that ball. So and really driven by their experienced guys in the back line, Hearn in particular, Duggan if he plays back there tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, and like Richmond too, they want to get to a handball chain, they want to get to contest, surge it from there too. So that contest and that balance in and around it, put enough pressure on the ball carrier, but also stop their receivers on the outside to be able to stop that handball chain going and be able to get through. Because once they get field position in their front half, they're really hard to stop, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think both teams, both back lines especially, have a lot of faith in the guys further up the field. So we'll release high half forwards who get too high up or in bad spots to really support their back line.
Yeah, I think it's important too. I don't think West Coast will want Grimes to be free tonight. I think he's important if he's been able to be a gatekeeper as such today too, to be able to control their back. They rely heavily on system from a defensive or team defence point of view. So not allowing Grimes to do what he wants will be really important for West Coast.
So the West Coast Eagles are in their tunnel and led out by Nick Nat-Nui. Onto Perth Stadium, the pyrotechnics go off and, a warm reception. I wouldn't say much more than that from the West Coast Eagles faithful. The Eagles in their royal blue with the gold wings, their blue shorts here at home, just about set to go through their warm-up. For those of you who are with us here in the Wester Waffle score, and a little bit of a surprise in the WAFL. East Perth, 8-11-59, have defeated South Fremantle, 8-6-54 at Leederville Oval today. So that is a turn-up win in the WAFL, a very good win. In the AFL, earlier today, only one game played, given we are in the split bye rounds. North Melbourne and GWS, a draw, believe it or not. A couple of golden chances, well, a golden chance late for GWS to take the lead. They missed that, and they had a chance with a kick after the siren from 70 to try and go ahead, but it wasn't to be. It was too far out. So 14-10-94 apiece is the full-time score in that match. Kennedy with that last shot from on the boundary, about 70 out. He went with the spiral, and it flew like a wounded bird and never really looked like getting anywhere near the target. So they share the points down there in the Apple Isle. Crowd filling up, not a massive crowd so far, Clint. Would you agree? We normally probably predicting 50,000 plus for the Eagles.
It's not a big crowd, but then we've seen traditionally they come in late here in WA with good reason. There's a rather good tavern about 200 metres to the south of this stadium that holds well over 1,000 people, and there's also people that like to congregate and hang around before they make their way in. But I would hope with what this game could mean. I know it's 7th versus 8th, but there's a feeling that West Coast, if they can continue to get some players back, can still push maybe for a top 4 spot. And Richmond, well, as you mentioned, and everyone knows, they've won 3 of the 4 last premierships, and the Eagles have won the other one. I would hope that West Coast would attract a crowd of around 50,000 today. It's a game that deserves that sort of response from the WA public.
And we haven't seen it enough. We said it right off the top only 4 times over the past 4 years. I'll be interested to hear from both of you just where you have Richmond. We know where they're sitting on the ladder, but power rankings as such, where would you seed them right now?
For me, it's in the mix. You don't have to be June champs. You got to be. Whips are going to be cracking at the end of the year, and that's what I think Richmond do really, really well. In the back end of the year, when you've got to be going and all your players up and going, I think they do it better than pretty much anybody else, and win at the right time.
The one year they started well was 2018. And they fell over at the end. Things went wrong at the end, so you might be right about that. What about you, David?
Yeah, very similar. I have them right up the top end, battling away with the likes of Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs. I think we saw a little bit last week, but when they're in their system and when they're in the zone and they get challenged, they've just got another gear that they can go to, and it's an absolute privilege to have. So, I think it's very similar. They're building into their year a little bit and looking more and more dangerous each week.
One thing we are going to see today, and we're looking at it as we speak, and that is Oscar Allen assisting Mick Nat-Nui in the ruck, so he is a utility for the West Coast Eagles. I'm sure in years to come when Kennedy goes, and I'm sure Darling maybe takes the keys to the forward line, and even when he goes, Allen will be settled down inside that forward line, but right now his magnet gets swung around a little bit and he has to help out.
Yeah, I reckon they experiment a little bit. They play the 4 talls at times West Coast, and Allen swings either end, and because Nat's on limited minutes, and Vardy's had it, and Bailey Williams has had it too, and Adam's been quoted too to be saying that he doesn't want Oscar Allen, week to week getting bashed in as a second ruck too. So, they experiment with their lineup and how many talls they play, but obviously tonight with Williams out, Oscar Allen is their pinch hit ruck.
We were talking a little bit earlier that a bloke who's had to spend a bit of time in defence, a little bit of time in the ruck and around the midfield, and a bit of time forward reminds me of somebody else who had a reasonably storied career that David Mundy spent a bit of time with for many seasons in Matthew Pavlich. There's been a lot of talk for how good Oscar Allen could be, and just 50 games into his career, it is his 50th, a milestone for him today. He really does seem to have the makings of a genuine superstar of this competition.
Absolutely, and I think West Coast situation with their tall forwards is both a help and a hindrance a little bit to his developing as a tall forward himself. Obviously gets that third key back when he's playing forward, but given how great Kennedy and Darling are as key forwards, he's that one who has to give that chop out in the ruck, so just loses that continuity playing forward. But it's an enviable position for the West Coast Eagles and their fans to have those 3 guys in particular.
One thing about West Coast is they're incredibly efficient. I mean, they kick their scores off far less inside 50s compared to other sides. So why are they able to do that?
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier around how they build the ball up really slowly out of their back line. They do that so they have got really good structure in front of the ball. So when they are able to move the ball forward and go to their forwards, they can get behind the ball movement and really defend it. And then on the back of that, having a player like Nat Nui in the centre square bounce, now we've got the 666 in particular, and he either puts it on a platter for one of the mids or comes streaming out the front himself. It's a handy thing to have. So.
It'd be unbelievable to have. Yeah, and from a coaching, it was a frightening coaching against it, because you didn't know where he was going to put it. The 360, he could put it anywhere in the circle. So, yeah, defending it was always an issue too. So you probably had to defend it behind the square more so than what you do in the centre circle. Adrian Hickmott in the unenviable position of just playing the faux ruckman, if you will, against Nick Nat-Nui in the warm-up as the West Coast Eagles go through their final preparations. Richmond doing theirs at the city end of the ground ahead of this contest. As I said, Richmond in their traditional jumper with the yellow sash, white shorts, the Eagles in their royal blue with the gold wings. Gents, give us 3 or 4 minutes of your best stuff to tell us what you're expecting and where it'll be won and lost here this evening. Thanks, Benny. Well, there's a few things to look at, isn't there, Dave? Centre bounce is important for us. Lovely matchup with Chol v Nat Nui, two jumping rucks, not actually bullocking type rucks who are strong. So it'll be more there, and it'll be interesting to see what goes on in that part. For me, again, it's the bookends, as we said earlier in the call too. So Kennedy, Darling, Allen v Bolter, Broad and Grimes. And at the other end, you've got Barras and Edwards v Rewalt and Coleman Jones. So, and I've always said midfields will go and do their thing and hopefully try and be good around stoppage and in general play. But how important are the bookends to be able to, one, early be in the contest, but two, take care of their opportunities will be important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think coming out of the stoppage in particular, which you mentioned before, how they're kicking it into those forwards in particular, both defences like to roll off a little bit and help that aerial support. So whatever midfield can get on top, I think, and really pass the ball into their forwards and be really effective at that, I think will go a long way in this game.
Is the common theme now more so for in the modern game with stoppages, more to surge from the stoppages more rather than shape the footy out of it, depending on your numbers, obviously, around the ball and what structure you do go with. But a lot of teams are probably more surging it and getting field position as quick as they can. Yeah, so from stoppages around the ground, it's probably a little bit like that because you can still get numbers up and around the ball, so it's a bit harder. But with the new rules, with the 666, out of centre square bounce, I feel like it's a bit easier to get through that pressure, onto the outside through handball, and then on the back of that being able to really steady up and pass it into a forward rather than just trying to surge it forward and get a bit of ground position. So that's why I think Nat Nui and the Eagles out of the centre square bounce are such a dangerous threat. It feels like any time they kick a goal, it could be a second goal within 10 seconds. They're an absolute elite unit in there, and I think it'll be a great battle.
Clint Wilden has kept his eyes on the coin toss between Nat Nui and Trent Cotchin. Who's won, Clint?
Trent Cotchin has won, pointing to the city end of Perth Stadium, to the right of our broadcast position. I don't know if it was a power move or whether Nick Naitanui just was unaware that he needed to be out in the middle, but Cotchin was waiting for a good 50 seconds before Naitanui strode across to the centre circles to be involved in the coin toss. Didn't matter with the result, though. Going the Tigers' way, Richmond kicking to the city end.
The fifth member of our team today is Steve Allen. He's downstairs on the boundary. G'day, Steve.
G'day, Ben. Yes, the fans are on their feet already. It's a very comfortable 16 degrees at the moment. Not a cloud above. The lights are on and we're just a minute or two away from sunset. The benches for Richmond: Short, Rioli, Caddy and Graham. Hugo Ralphsmith is the medical sub. And for West Coast, it'll be Waterman, Langdon, Edwards and Cole. Xavier O'Neill, the medical sub for them.
Taking his lead from Michael Schultz with the sunset time, who's the local weather presenter here in Perth, for those of you over in the east. Just about set to go. A final tip, gents. Which way are you going?
West Coast.
West Coast.
Clint?
Richmond for me.
I think Richmond just.
Oh, the front rows disagreed with the back row again.
The front row was right yesterday and the back row was wrong.
Front row tipped Fremantle, by the way, yesterday.
Can't believe that.
All right, just about set with a heavyweight bout that we haven't seen often enough. It's so often the way. It'll be Nick Nat Nui against Marby Chol here in the West. Sunday night football ahead of the Queen's birthday holiday. And to get you started, here's Clint Wilden.
Two of the competition's heavyweights in terms of supporter bases, in terms of recent premierships. It's the Eagles and the Tigers. Natanui against Chol. Chol wins it down, but straight to Sheed for the Eagles. Redden had it, got it knocked out of his grasp by Chol. I'll dive on top of the football. Still in the centre circles. Natanui tried to emerge with it. Umpire had already blown his whistle to ball it up. Aggressive start from both sets of midfields. Natanui won it down. Eventually it spills, though, to Martin. He'll kick in the direction of Riewoldt. Couldn't mark. Gathers off the ground, though. Gathered back to Martin from centre half forward. Bounces a kick towards full foot. Edwards back there. Got away from Coleman Jones. The Eagles have it in the right back pocket. Opportunity here for Foley to kick long towards the southern wing. No mark taken out there. Went over the top of Kennedy. Behind him, Voston, who stayed down for a moment. And he's been given the free kick as well. And he'll have it just forward of centre wing, southern side. Taken high by Darling. Just into the back of his head. Wasn't deliberate. Just the leg making contact with the back of Loston's head.
So Vloston on the logo, sets it up inside 50 for the Tigers. Chol with the run and jump, brings it down in front. Bolton buzzing around the area. Foley gets it for the Eagles, gives it to Sheed, tumbles it into the middle of the ground. Bouncing ball, Bolter there. Handball to Grimes. The Tigers coming back the other way to Hooley. Stabs a pass out towards the wing. Marked there by Pickett. About 80 from home here for the Tigers. Looks up inside 50. He'll set it up into the pocket. Riewoldt there. Coleman Jones over the top. Has a lot of it. Mark not paid. Ball jars free. At full forward for Richmond. Picking it up Hearn. Tumbles it away. Broad gathers. Gets a handball out. Jamming it on the boot. Quick snap from Arts. He's missing to the left-hand side. A minor score to start for the Tigers. Coleman Jones had a lot of it. Controlled it down to the ground. Was it a mark? Yes or no?
Not enough in the third.
No, I don't think so.
Not a mark. One behind to start from the Tigers, 2 minutes in.
Shannon Hearn with the kicking duties, goes long up the middle. Natanui against Chol. Chol at the back was in the better position. Tapped it down. It came to Lambert. The soccer it backwards. Scooped up by Bolter for the Tigers. Sweeps the hand pass to Pickett. Drops it on the logo. Commentary wing. Able to regather. Kicks inside defensive 50. Good mark, Foley. Up against Castagna, has it between full-back and centre-half-back, and the Eagles, again, will be composed as they look to go beyond defensive 50. Kennedy's there on centre wing. Couldn't mark. Down to Baker of the Tigers. Hand pass backwards. Cochin picked it up. Tackled immediately. Ball's been locked in, has it? Yes. Umpire says we'll ball it up. Nearly 3 minutes gone in the first term. The Tigers lead by behind over the Eagles, who are yet to score.
Have started games well this year, the Eagles. Won 9 first terms. Natanui down to Yo. Kick smothered by Martin. Spills out towards Hooley. He loses it. Kennedy wins it for the Eagles. Redden on to Jones. Tumbles it inside 50. Vloston there. Wins it back for the Tigers. Kicks to half-back. Here's Lambert back in the side. Back feeds a handball to Broad at left half-back. Shanks his left-footed kick. Skews off the side of the boot. McIntosh good enough to recover it, but turns it over. Kicks straight to Shannon Hearn for the Eagles.
Hearn moves it towards Cripps. Marks and plays on by a hand. Duggan back in the team. Receives it. Goes in the direction of Allen. 3 Tigers came from everywhere. Crunched into him, and Richmond can clear. The ball spilled out to Lambert, who sends it over the boundary line. What will the call be? Throwing it in. You're never too sure. The Eagles fans were certainly convinced it was the other way. Grimes, great defence before as well. Throwing it right half forward for West Coast.
Umpire spins it back in. Natanui works his way to the front. Chol takes it out of the ruck, gets onto his left, kicks Richmond along the outer edge of the square. Coming through Coleman Jones, fighting after it Barris. Now Castagna picks it up. Handball to Riewoldt. Handball over his head. Bolton inside 50. Shanks it across the face. Misses the lot out of bounds on the full. And he gets a little look from Arts, who says, What about me? I was all alone in the goal square.
Surprised you didn't see that one.
Yeah, it's a disappointing one.
The Eagles in their left back pocket. Richmond 1- score, 4.5 minutes into the first.
So Foley will put it beyond defensive 50. Big pack underneath it. It's off hands. Spills down to Pickett. The Tigers from 60 out. Centres the kick. They fly. Revolt from the side. Couldn't mark. Sockers it off the ground. Runs it through for a goal. Jack Revolt gets the first of the night. And he gets his 697th major. 1-1-7 the Tigers. The Eagles yet to score. 5 gone in the first on Grandstand AFL. Our experts Shane Woden and David Mundy.
So far, Richmond is setting up really well behind the ball. They're able to get the ball in their forward 50 and really hemming West Coast in, not allowing them short kicks further up the field. The only time West Coast have really got forward is when they got this stoppage, which was almost a win against Richmond sometimes on mid-wing, and won that just before.
And I'm surprised even with West Coast's entry, they flicked it again too, rather than probably wait for their numbers to get back in to be able to, because it was a 3v1 on Oscar Allen, so it was no chance to be able to get that. And as we know, Richmond do get back really well and support.
So back in the middle, closing in on 700. Jack Rewalt, Nat-Nui leaps high, takes it in one hand, bursts out of the middle, takes a bounce, attacking edge of the square, floats it into the pocket, and misses everybody. It pitches in play and out of play for a boundary throw-in. It was pretty special from Nick Nat-Nui.
Certainly was.
Taking it in the left hand and bursting away from everybody. Umpire spins it in, Nat-Nui in front. Knocks it, Chol goes at it again. Baker taken in a Jones tackle and driven out of play. We'll do it again in the forward pocket for the Eagles. Yet to score the West Coast Eagles. Richmond 1-1-7. Nat-Nui and Chol again, side by side this time. Neither with the touch on it. Comes to Caddy. Handball to Graham. Handball to Broad. Now McIntosh can kick beyond defensive 50 for the Tigers.
Out there though, Foley takes the mark for the Eagles. About a metre in from the boundary. Forward of centre wing, southern side of Perth Stadium. Foley kicks the Eagles into the right forward pocket. Darling flew at the back. Nat-Nui gathered, kicks. A wonderful goal. He's just thrown it on the boot, hard up against the boundary, with no daylight between the big sticks. Somehow it's found a way through. Incredible. Richmond's leaders can't buy a point. West Coast 1 straight 6. Richmond 1-1-7. That'll go in the goal of the year nominations this week.
It's a fair goal from Nick. He's hemmed on the boundary. And for a big fella, it's not an easy task.
And with the right, in the right forward pocket, or the deep in the right full forward position, that's incredible.
Let's ask the real question, though. Was he trying to kick it to the top of the goal square?
No way. He's definitely going for goals. Give him the credit. He's had a huge couple of contests there, Nick. Started with the centre square bounce early, taking it out and driving the ball forward.
Foley's been impressive too, behind the ball for West Coast.
That's incredible. Downstairs, Steve Allen.
Liam Ryan doesn't look to be anything major, but just getting a bit of strapping or padding just below his right knee.
Chol down to Bolton, who drives it inside 50. No mark taken. Coleman Jones Rose taken down in an Edwards tackle. And he'll be penalised holding the ball. So Edwards to have it in the left back pocket. Incredible couple of minutes for Nick Nat-Nui, as David Mundy said. As Edwards goes short to Foley, snaps beyond defensive 50. Duggan can't mark. Edwards down in front, picking it up McIntosh. The Tigers with it back to Edwards. Now short, kicks a long ball towards full forward. Coleman Jones goes up, couple of grabs. Martin, Rose, snap smothered, still fighting after it. The Eagles in their back pocket. Martin smothers the Hearn kick, and out of play for a boundary throw in. 1 straight 6 the Eagles. Richmond 1-1-7. They lead by a point. Almost 9 minutes played opening term.
Goal saving smother from Barris a moment ago. And Martin, after seeing his kick smothered, returned the favour. Coleman Jones front position, took clean possession, got tackled. Umpire says play on, it spilled out. Harry Edwards with it, gets it on to Duggan, kicks beyond defensive 50 for the Eagles. Broad is up and marking. No, it's a push against Broad. It'll come to Darling. He has it at right half back. Glances inboard for a moment, now gets told to move it on. takes a couple of steps, kicks the Eagles to the southern wing. Yo's there, coming in from the side. Grimes saw it a long way away. Wanted the footy, found it, punched it over the line for a throw-in. Tigers lead by a point, 9:30 gone in the opening term.
Courtesy of Sir Swamp Thing on Twitter, most times kicking the first goal of a game in the past 20 years. Jack Riewoldt 48 times. Josh Kennedy the next best with 39. It's the Eagles. Josh Kennedy is from the restart. The Eagles come away with it. Redden kicks towards half forward. Loston just gives Darling a nudge, takes the mark. Richmond with it back across half back. Kick to Graham, now short. Reigning best and fairest to right half back for Richmond. As he moves it to Baker, now McIntosh just backward of this northern wing. Kicks up towards Caddy, fist from Edwards. We'll send it over the boundary line and get warm applause from the Eagles faithful on this Sunday evening out west. 10 gone, opening term. 1-1-7 Richmond, the Eagles 1 straight 6.
Put back into play. Allen against Coleman Jones. The Tiger wings it down to Edwards. Kick ricocheted away off a pack of players. Bolton had it right half forward, tried to tap it to his own advantage against Luke Edwards. Castagna was lurking there. Came to Redden though of the Eagles and got it onto Sheed. Bounced off Martin and got a kick away for the Eagles. 2-on-2 battle at left half forward. Boston wanted it most. He marks for the Tigers. He's at right half back. A switch of play. Long kick finds its way out towards short. He'll mark and play on off a step. The kick bounces towards Pickett. Has it at left half back. Pops it over the top. Now a chance for Broad.
Broad pokes his kick towards Hooley. Forward of the southern wing here for the Tigers. On his left, sends it into the pocket. Trying to get it towards Caddy. And again Edwards. Had a good couple of minutes with that fist. Sends it out of play. 1 point Richmond's lead. What are you seeing, gents, so far?
Both teams, I think, rolling up forward to behind the contest at the moment from a structural point of view.
Allen slaps it down. Bolton picks it up for Richmond. Handball away to Rioli. Now short. He'll chip it towards Riewoldt. The Eagles bob up through Rotham, who marks 40 out from his defensive goal.
Might be a bit of claret on the nose of Dom Sheed. As Kennedy has it on the wing. Spears it inboard, finds Langdon, hand passes back to Luke Edwards, to Langdon again by hand, running by Redden, kicks into the left forward pocket, just had a bit too much on it for Jones. At the back, the Tigers can mop up through Grimes, they work it to Bolter, and then he turns it over, kicking down the throat of Kennedy. Long way out from where you might normally expect him to be. He's standing on centre wing beneath our broadcast position. The Tigers by a point, 12 gone in the first.
So Kennedy, he'll play on. Kick into the pocket here for the Eagles. In the Darling direction, coming across. Coleman Jones. A couple of key forwards are lost. And he'll get 50 as well. So march downfield. Not sure exactly what for. Dom Sheed very wisely just advises the umpire now that he's got
clever
a blood rule and just slows the game down so the Eagles can flood back and defend. That's a veteran move, isn't it?
Very smart. He's done very well there.
Yeah.
Very well.
Shrewd from Dom Sheed. The Eagles now virtually all behind the ball as Coleman Jones spreads it out wide to Broad, who moves it on to Hooley. Gives it off by hand to Jaden Short, one of the great oxymorons. He always goes long. Does again here, inside 50. No mark taken. Ball spills out at ground level. Lambert handball away. Getting involved there again, Lambert. Handball's out towards the boundary line. And Allen tracks it. And we'll get a throw in the left forward pocket for the Tigers. 13 and a half played, 1-1-7. They lead the Eagles 1 straight 6.
It's Lambert with the hip into the face of Sheed that caused the blood to flow. The reason he's off the ground. The throw in. Allen won it down against Riewoldt. Gathered it himself and then tumbles a kick towards right half back. Up there's Hawley, takes the mark for the Tigers. Kicks into the middle of the ground, weighted it perfectly for Vlosten, just on the outer edge of the centre circles. Waits for something to emerge. There's a couple of short leads up towards him. Instead, he'll kick to Bolter on the other edge of the centre circles. Commentary side. Still in the centre square. Takes a couple of steps. Kicks inside the right forward pocket. Rotham crashed into Coleman Jones. Ball jarred free. Trying to gather it Cole. Couldn't. Riewoldt hand passed it out. It came to Graham, then to Cochin. Kick long to a one-on-one at full forward. Revolt stretching against Barris, who's done well. Ball comes to ground. O'Rothen got tackled. Just got a hand pass out there. It's Phil to Rioli. Now to Bolton, who snaps. And he's missed. Putting it across the face. Just sneaking it in for a minor score. Getting closer, Shea Bolton.
It's a great contest by Rioli, wasn't it? He was probably no position to win that and bring it to front.
Terrific battle between those two, you'd think. The Tigers by 2 points, 14 gone in the first.
It is something he does really well, isn't it? If he doesn't mark it, he brings it to ground as Barris kicks long for the Eagles, out towards the wing. Loston marks.
Been good on Darling.
So it'll be coming back, you would think. Loston drives it low inside 50. Riewoldt! He's got it in the pocket. He takes the mark, 15 out. On a tight angle in the left forward pocket. He'll run around on the right, you'd think.
And there's 4 intercept marks from Gloucester already.
Yeah, he's doing really well on those long kicks out of West Coast defence.
Here comes Riewoldt. Arcs around, bends it home. Richmond second. He's got both. And he's 698th in AFL football. 2-2-14 Richmond leading the Eagles 1 straight 6. Quarter hour mark, opening term here on Grandstand AFL. David Mundy and Shane Woden.
Richmond looking really composed and assured behind the ball, looking really safe, setting up a little bit from their forward 50 stoppages with the spare behind to get a key back anchor behind the play, and then generating a bit of their ball moving off the back of that, looking really safe.
Which is generally Grimes, isn't it? Which he does it regularly. Might be a night for West Coast to certainly lower their eyes a little bit more in their front half. They are dropping back onto Kennedy and Darling a lot, the Richmond defence. So it might be a little bit more patient, West Coast coming forward.
Bounce of the footy. Chol against Natanui. Natanui won this down. Sheed's out after it. Surely got a push in the back from Cochin. The umpire says yes. Sheed will have the free kick. So from the centre of the ground, he sends it long towards the top of the 50 for the Eagles. Darling might have been held by Grimes. Langdon going through, gathered it anyway and missed his chance to find a fellow Eagle at left full forward in Kennedy. It's over the boundary line for a throw-in. Can the Eagles respond with a goal? They trail by 8 points. First term here at Perth. Chol at the back with the more telling tap, and he had a second go at it as well. Spilled out towards Cochin, couldn't take it. Natanui gathers, his hand passes straight into the outstretched arm of McIntosh, who sees it over the line for a throw-in. Left forward pocket still for West Coast. Still remains the Tigers by 8, 18 gone in the first.
The MRO verdicts are in. We'll bring you those in just a moment. Forward 50 stoppage for the Eagles. Natanui takes it out of the ruck, can't get it on the boot. Follows up though, now he does get it on the boot. Towards full forward, Kennedy in best position, and he marks. Bolter feels a little aggrieved. He feels like he was being held. But in the right forward pocket, Kennedy has been able to mark for the Eagles.
A much better looking forward 50 stoppage from the Eagles there, much more dynamic. Jamie Cripps hitting through.
So he'll snap on the left, and he'll bend it home. All clear, says the umpire. The Eagles get their second, and it's goal for goal to start this first term between Richmond and West Coast. 2-2-14 are the Tigers. The Eagles 2 straight 12 here on Grandstand AFL. David Mundy and Shane Woden.
Well, for years and years, it used to be the Luke Shuey, Mark Lacroix show in the forward 50, one blocking for the other and releasing through. In that second stoppage there, Jamie Cripps coming through, just a bit of momentum, bit of a chaos ball, and good set up in front of the ball.
It's quite funny too. I mean, Jack Riewoldt might kick his 700th goal tonight. Josh Kennedy and Jack Riewoldt. Jack Riewoldt's 32, Josh Kennedy 33. Their careers have almost run parallel. I mean, Josh has played a few less games, but if you work out the numbers, it's almost just over 2 goals a game for both of them. So very similar careers, and 2 great players both out there tonight.
The restart. Natanui palmed it down, but it's to Martin. who gets away from Natanui and then kicks pretty much up and down on the spot, still in the centre square, spills to ground. Luke Edwards gathered, got tackled immediately. The umpire will ball this up just on the commentary edge of the centre square. Ben, the MRO, which is really interesting.
So David McKay has been sent direct to the tribunal.
Seriously?
Holding decision on Natanui. He's been given the free kick. But what's most intriguing is the incident has been ungraded.
Yeah.
So they've just sent it to the tribunal and said, you can sort this out.
Sort it out.
Wash his hands of it.
Yep. I don't know what to do with this one. We'll send it to you guys as it goes to Duggan on the southern wing, who marks inside forward 50 with a kick to Kennedy. In the right forward pocket, marking 47 outs.
That's better. Lower the eyes. There's a good lead by Kennedy too, which is one of his greatest strengths. Bit of run, good patterns. Tick back at the kicker.
Someone would know this, but I can't think of an occasion where that's happened since the current system has been in place.
I don't understand the decision, why you're put in there to make a decision.
Has it? Ben
Yeah,
says
it has happened. Yeah.
When was that?
I'll have to check.
Meantime, Kennedy shoots on goal from 50 outs. That's a great kick, Josh Kennedy. He gets his second. A thumping kick from no more than about 5 metres in from the boundary in the right forward pocket. A wonderful goal to put West Coast in front by 4. 3 straight 18 to Richmond, 2-2-14. The Eagles lead us 4 points. We've just gone past the 20-minute mark in the first term.
And then the young forwards learning their craft could go. Look at JK, the way he moves off the ball. This lead here just protects his space a little bit. Bolter just drifts for a second, and the connection, that experience between himself and Duggan, really evident in that play.
I'll always remember a former teammate of yours, Luke McFarlane, who I did some work with, said that Josh Kennedy was the hardest of the forwards to play on. He said Riewoldt was challenging with his running. Jonathan Brown was terrifying, but he found Josh Kennedy incredibly slippery as Chol wins the tap, but Sheed gets it for the Eagles. Kicks on his right, back inside 50 they go. Baker's there to mop up for Richmond. Paddles towards the boundary. Under a little bit of pressure, handball away. Duggan comes through. Pickett tackles him out. And we'll get a throw in on the southern wing. 0437 774 774. That's 0437 774 if you wish to let us know where you are listening here this evening. On the throw in, there's a free kick off the ball. It's the 2 ruckmen, in fact. It'll go to Mubby or Chol. The Eagles leading by 4 points, 22 minutes into the first.
So Chol, the right shoulder, heavily strapped. He kicks towards left half forward. Crashing the pack, Coleman Jones was able to work it out to Castagna. Tackled immediately, lost possession. Harry Edwards had it for the Eagles. Gave it to Sheed, now to Yo. Oh, poor kick. Stabbed it straight towards Hooley. He wanted Allen. Hooley was standing in the way and was happy to receive the mark. So between left half back and centre wing, southern side. Hooley kicks back towards left half forward. Again, big pack up underneath it. Harry Edwards at the bottom, just threw it on the boot. Dangerous, goes backwards. Nelson has to dive, slapped it in the direction of Sheed, who got it, then gave it to Yo. This time kicks high up in the air, wants Allen once more. Allen against Hooley. Allen's able to at least see it over the boundary line for what will be a neutral ball. Throwing on centre wing, the Eagles lead by 4 points, 23 gone in the first.
So the opening stanza out west on this Queen's birthday evening. Umpire brings it back in. No decisive tap. Sheed picks it up off the deck. Bolter gets a handball away. Coming through, Lambert picks it up. Handball to Chol. Run down. Duggan's caught him. Holding the ball and the Eagles take the advantage. Foley gets it off towards Cole, who kicks around the boundary. Darling can't mark. Let him mop up broad for Richmond. Unsure where to go. Feeds a handball to Pickett. Handball forward. Duggan coming through. Leaves it behind. Cole goes in again. Ball spits out momentarily. Lambert shovels out a handball. Bolton paddles. Close to the boundary line. He'll see it out. So the Eagles with the last 2 majors through Kennedy. They lead by 4 points. They're 3 straight. Richmond 2-2. 24 minutes gone in this opening term.
Ball back into play. Chol athletically leapt up into the air, won it down against Allen. It came to Pickett, gave it to Hawley, stabs the pass to Cochin, who marks it left half forward. Too far out to score himself. He'll wheel around and kicks into the left forward pocket. Castagna in front, couldn't mark. Down to Riewoldt, gives it to Edwards, kicks towards the goal square, back there saving the day. Redden, when required for the Eagles, takes the defensive mark and he moves it short to Ryan. Goes on a bit of a run and now takes a bounce. Audacious stuff. Ryan kicking towards the commentary wing. He wanted Natanui battling against Grimes. Ball bounces off the back leg of Grimes. He knew nothing about it and sees it over for a boundary throw-in.
I'll take that, I think, West Coast.
Does a great job back there, Dylan Grimes. A man nicknamed the Grimes Stopper. We like that as Natanui takes it out of the ruck, gives it off to Gaff, to Yo. Floats a kick to half forward. Ball bounces on its point, and like an obedient dog, it trickles out and will get a throw in. Loston with the appeals for deliberate. Nothing doing. Throw in just inside 50 for the Eagles.
The obedient ones, they don't trickle, Ben.
Not where they're not supposed to.
That's
anyway.
Exactly right.
Umpire brings it back in. Coleman Jones doing the ruck work. Slaps it down with his left hand. Lots of players around the footy. On all fours, Cochin knocks it out, but Sheed for the Eagles. Back to Edwards. Redden sells some candy. Kicks inside 50. Baker in best position. And he takes the mark at fullback. He's become a reliable, likely type for the Tigers. He switches to Edwards, who handballs it to Hawley. His handball to Short to Edwards. And now Vlosten on the wing back to Short.
Short will just pop it over the top. Now with Castagna. Sweeping it forward to Lambert. He's at left half forward. He puts it into the left forward pocket. Didn't have enough on the kick. Redden able to mark in front of Chol. Eagles have it through Nelson. Now a chance for Foley. Dangerous kick. He wanted Cripps. Got in front of Caddy. Lost his footing. Hand pass to no one in particular. Riewoldt was there, happy to receive it. Or shanked it off the side of the boot. It bounces just naturally across half forward for the Tigers. Onto its Cole. Couldn't believe his luck. Now it opens for the Eagles. Comes to Yo. He'll thump it long. Inside forward 50. Darling stretches. Couldn't mark. And then it's knocked.
Free kick.
It is a free kick, I beg your pardon. Going against Darling.
I don't think it's Allen.
Is it Allen, rather? Yes, Allen against Coleman Jones. Having a look at Allen coming in from the side. Yeah, he's tried to block Coleman Jones, an illegal block, and that's the free kick. Coleman Jones will have it. He'll move it short to Baker in the right back pocket.
Here is Baker kicking towards the wing. Riewoldt comes up. Ball goes over the back. Knocking it out Cole, but Bolton swoops on it. Little 1-2 with Caddy. Bolton kicks around the boundary line. Castagna can't mark. He'll get a free kick. He's taken high. Castagna looks inside 50. Goes long. Riewoldt's down there. Fist comes from behind Nelson. And then Barris will clear for the Eagles. Standing underneath it. There is Cripps. Bringing it down short. He goes after it. Was held. You can hear what the faithful think of it. It's probably there. There was a bit of separation between the jumper and the body and just wrenched backwards as he kicks infield to Hawley. Wheels onto the left. Waits a kick inside 50. Looking for Chol. Barris in front. Chol spoils. Foley at the fall of the ball. Redden a handball for the Eagles under pressure. And then Nelson does well to kick to the pocket and avert the danger.
He'll go back across the face of goal. Finds Hearn, ever reliable and precise on this occasion, to get it to Foley. Back to Hearn, who ran to the right back pocket. Moved it on to Rotham. The kick beyond defensive 50 to the outer wing. Getting in front, Vlosten. It was a one-on-one battle. Vlosten knocked it over the boundary line and Baker's given away the free kick. Hold is the call. Chance here for young Edwards. Shane Edwards to go back, cross half back. Eagles into their defensive 50 to Cole. Now it comes again. At centre half back with it is Langdon. Langdon pauses. Finds Barris. Barris at left half back to Langdon again. Redden leads up the centre half back. Chuggles the mark. That was the ooh you heard. Bolton was right behind him. Ugly looking kick in the middle of the ground. It just got its way to Cripps. Goes over the top to Ryan, who marks at the top of the defensive 50. somehow they found a way through West Coast. Ryan will be kicking from 52 out, pretty much straight in front.
There's a bit of luck in that one. I think Jack Redden's kick wasn't good enough to grip. He just whacked it on the boot, and lucky enough there's enough penetration there.
Natanui's forward, so too Allen and Darwin. As Liam Ryan starts the approach, he crosses the attacking edge of the centre square. From 51 out, he puts it high up into the air. Pack forms underneath. Natanui up. Couldn't mark. Spill down to Broad. He'll go by hand to Baker. Oh, Baker's kick wasn't what he was hoping for. It bounced straight into Waterman. Spilled over the boundary line. The Tigers think it's gone off his leg and should be their free kick to Baker. And the officials say, no, it's going to be a throw. Having a quick look at the replay, it's definitely hit the boot of Waterman. But yes, the old crowd catch if it was cricket. Bump ball straight in and over the line.
Umpire brings it back in. Natanui and Coleman Jones. Natanui takes it out of the ruck. His handball goes straight to Caddy, who snaps across his body. Clears the defensive 50 and Castagna marks. Reliably informed that Castagna's been dishing out homemade tattoos during the week in Sydney as he kicks it short to Basher Hooley. Kicks around the southern wing. Here for Richmond. Forward of it now. There to mop up. Art's getting involved. He's tackled by Rotham. Yo picks it up, throws it on the boot, and the siren wins out. An entertaining first term between these two heavyweights. Richmond kicked the first goal. The Eagles kicked 3 of the next 4, including the last 2, to lead by 4 points at the first change. So the goal kickers, Rewalt with a couple for Richmond. For the Eagles, Nick Natanui with 1 and Josh Kennedy with a couple. The thoughts of David Mundy and Shane Woden coming up, but at quarter time it's the West Coast Eagles leading 3 straight 18 to Richmond 2-2-14. This is Grandstand AFL.
Our tradition since 1993 is Saturday Night Country.
It's so beautiful, the way that he speaks it and the heart and soul that is behind that.
Join icon Becky Cole for contemporary and classic country music tracks, plus interviews with Australian legends and rising stars.
Just this incredible story.
My love for country has just grown and grown and grown.
I was hooked. Country ever since.
Saturday Night Country, the home of country music. We're online and on ABC Radio.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Kick it. The Tigers from 60 out. Centres the kick. They fly. Rebolt from the side. Couldn't mark. Sockers it off the ground. Runs it through for a goal. Jack Rebolt gets the first of the Knights. Foley kicks the Eagles into the right forward pocket. Darling flew at the back. Natanui gathered. Kicks. A wonderful goal. He's just thrown it on the boot. Hard up against the boundary with no daylight between the big sticks. Somehow it's found a way through. Incredible.
Lofton drives it low inside 50. Rewalt! He's got it in the pocket. He takes the mark, 15 out. Arcs around, bends it home. Richmond second. He's got both. And he's 698 in AFL football. Natanui takes it out of the ruck. Can't get it on the boot. Follows up though, now he does get it on the boot. Towards full forward, Kennedy in best position, and he marks. So he'll snap on the left, and he'll bend it home.
Duggan on the southern wing, who marks inside forward 50 with a kick to Kennedy. In the right forward pocket, marking 47 outs. Kennedy shoots on goal from 50 outs. That's a great kick, Josh Kennedy. He gets his second.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
So the Eagles leading by 4 points at quarter time on this Queen's Birthday Eve clash between the Eagles and Richmond on Grandstand AFL. Plenty of interesting texts rolling in. We'll get to those in a moment. But first, what did we see, Shane Woden and David Mundy, in that first quarter action?
Well, certainly played in Richmond's front half in the first 15 or so minutes, and just speaking with Dave then too, Richmond's forwards and mids were pressing high and not allowing West Coast to get their game going a little bit, and sort of had to dump it out of D50, didn't they? And then because Richmond was set up so well behind the ball and they were able to intercept, they had 9 attacking mid and sort of centre forward turnovers in that quarter for 2 goals. So they certainly put it on West Coast in that first bit. Then West Coast better arm wrestle it back a little bit in that back half of that quarter.
Yeah, has got a bit of fatigue in the back end of that quarter there. And West Coast foray forward ended up with a Liam Ryan shot on goal. They were able to generate a bit of their football again, kick it around a little bit more, work the ball around and fatigue the Richmond players a little bit more and then find that gap through the centre of the ground. And a little bit lucky with the big hoik forward landing in Liam Ryan's lap, but that's how they want to play. They want to kick it around, move the ball forward and find those targets.
There's a couple of opportunities too. I think Foley was one. He handball. They got the mark and then they gave it to Foley again on another mark and then decided handball again, which at the end invites the pressure and wants the turnover. So, probably a little bit out of their system, but able to get through it a couple of times.
Couple of SMSs rolling in, and I've got sympathy for Jeff, so I'm going to read this out. 0437 774 774 if you wish to let us know where you are listening. Sitting in Darwin Airport since 4 p.m, now listening to the footy. Flight leaves 2:05 a.m. to Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Launceston. Home about 7 p.m. tomorrow. Quickest way I could get home. Wish the footy was on all night and tomorrow. Might have made the airport's 24-hour of masks bearable. That's from Jeff. That is tough going.
It's a big trip.
Glad we're keeping you company, Jeff, and helping you with that unbearable weight. Billy, the Jack Russell, intrigued with your call from no idea, some kind of creek. I'm not even going to attempt the pronunciation. And then this one says, hi team, Luke Edwards, Harry Edwards, Shane Edwards. It's a 2-name Sunday. We'll keep that in mind as we work our way through the afternoon.
We've been doing that, haven't we? I think I have.
Yeah, you might have. I might have forgotten. Ian and Sandra in Exmouth say, last Eagles game that I'll be listening to from Messer Camp via Exmouth. Hello to all from Happy Hour. So trust you're enjoying that. And Dave down in Tasmania enjoying the call.
I will say, if you do hear Edwards for the Tigers, there's only one option there. So.
That is true.
So, anyway, let's have a look at some of the numbers here. The West Coast Eagles leading by 4 points. Redden, 12 disposals. Foley has had 11. Sheed with 9. Natanui, 8. And then Hearn and Langdon with 6 apiece. For the Tigers, Hooley and Lambert with 10. Voston and Short with 8. Revolt, Bolton, Baker and Broad all with 7s. Disposals, Richmond have had 114 to the Eagles 99. The marks to Richmond 24 to 23. Marks inside 50. The Eagles have had 3 to Richmond's 1. Inside 50s overall. Richmond leads that 16 to 13. The uncontested possessions, always intriguing for West Coast. They're actually behind 70 to 60 in favour of Richmond. The contested possessions, Richmond 43 to the Eagles 40. And the always fascinating free kicks, Richmond have had more, 4 to 3. West Coast by 4 points.
So just about set for this second term. The Eagles very good in second terms. They've won 9 this season and been able to split one of the others as well. Jamie also says on the Murray at Picnic Point, thanks for the radio call. As the fire is my TV as we get underway in this second term. Nat Nui follows up the ruck tap with a big tackle. Martin gets the clearance for the Tigers. Bounces it inside 50. Sidestep from Rioli. Off to Bolton, who shanks it again.
3.
Oh, geez. He's having a funky night. Shea Bolton. Don't know what's going on with the usually sublime skills of Shea Bolton. Out of bounds on the full. The Eagles to have it in the left-back pocket.
Rotherham to bring it back into play. He kicks towards left half-back. Darling front position. Chol at the back. Punched it down. Spilled out to Arts. Got a hand pass away to Shane Edwards. Gave it on to Martin. Lovely pass. Spots Caddy just inside forward 50. 45-degree angle to the left. And he takes the mark. Could have blazed away, Dusty, and you wouldn't have bet against him if you had. Josh Caddy, the 28-year-old. 2 goals, 4 for the season. He kicks from right on 50. We're right behind the kick. Looked okay, but then turns and hits the left-hand goal post. A minor score. The Tigers move to be 2-3-15. The Eagles 3 straight 18. 80 seconds gone into the second turn.
So Hearn goes short from the kick in. How about a fine Duggan? Chips it short to Nelson. The Eagles in their back pocket. They lead by 3 points. 96 seconds into the second term. Nelson will drive it long towards the wing. Rhyme looking at a run and jump. Cripps has to go against Hooley. Drove there by Yo for the Eagles. Forward handball to Kennedy. Has to get around a would-be tackler. Now stabs it short. Jones marks. Attacking into the square. Kennedy receives it back. Floats it to Cripps. It didn't spin well off the boot of Kennedy, but it finds its target. And Cripps marks 35 metres out, a slight angle to the right-hand side. Well worked by the Eagles.
You see JK getting many handball receives. Overlapping, do you?
Powerful through the middle.
Yeah.
Jamie Cripps, well valued by the Eagles. He comes in and slots it from 35. The Eagles extend their lead. They're out by 9 points. They're accurate and effective as they so often are. They're 4 straight, 24. Richmond 2-3-15. David Mundy, Shane Woden. What are we saying?
Shane Edwards is probably as spooked as the rest of us seeing JK up in the middle there. What tackle we'd like to have back there, getting set by the big fella.
No doubt. Underrated player, Cripps, isn't he, for a very long time. Just his work rate's exceptional. You know, he's involved with this contest here at half-back. Then to be on the end of that chain with JK hitting him up inside 50 is really important to West Coast's front half.
231 goals in 190 games in his career.
And the Northampton boys, very cohesive, just in unison.
Yes. Wait for the restart. Natanui stands against Chol. Bounce favoured Chol as he ran towards it, tapped it down, but stolen by Yo. Strong and kicked around the body towards centre half forward. Jones tried to mark, pinched away by Baker. Jones tackled him, ball jarred out. Umpire says play on and finds its way inside the Eagles forward 50. Broad was there. Short hand pass to Graham, then to Shane Edwards, now to Lambert, on in turn to Hawley. Moves it to Caddy by hand. It opens up in front of him on the commentary wing. Takes one bounce, then a second. Dangerous hand pass inboard. Missed its target in Lambert. Sheed was there to mop up. Goes short by hand to Foley. His hand pass knocked down by Chol. Lambert goes in, gets it again. Might have been taken high. Umpire says play on. Ryan tried to soccer it out. Shane Edwards soccers it forward, up into the air. It's marked there by Nelson of the Eagles. Moves it short now to Duggan at right half back.
Duggan kicks towards Cripps. Broad spoils. Hooley front and square. Richmond come back the other way. Hooley loops a handball to Caddy. Handball to Martin. Handball back to Caddy. Out left half forward. Rioli along the ground to Caddy, who goes back to Rioli. Bursts one tackle. Slips over. Feeds it out. Graham runs to 30. Kicks a wonderful goal. Well worked, Richmond. And Graham finishes. That is Richmond's MO 101. And it's back to 3 points. 3-3-21 the Tigers. West Coast 4 straight 24. We've played 5 minutes in this second term.
A couple of missed tackles there too on the flip side this time, with West Coast missing one about to get through and finish off. It probably wasn't a great decision. I think it was Sheed here to Jamie Cripps and missed chance to be able to get through.
And I think the Eagles fans are a little upset that there wasn't a holding the ball. I'm not sure there was a tackle. It was more a bump as Rioli slipped over, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. And a few Richmond players slipping over again tonight. Might be a boot change at half-time required again this week.
Can you just tell us what Ross Lyon would have said if this many Freo players were slipping over under his tenure?
I don't think that's suitable for on-air, Ben.
That in itself is telling enough as Shea Bolton gets the clearance away. Toe poke forward by Lambert for the Tigers. Comes as far as Luke Edwards. Had it for the Eagles across centre half back. He moved it to Hearn, who kicks down the line. Commentary side and to Redden, who marks. Cole runs by, receives the hand pass, pops a hand pass over the top to Gaff. Not a great hand pass back here to Luke Edwards. Did well, got away from an opponent, stabs the kick towards the corridor. Waterman coming out. Lambert got there first though for the Tigers. He kicks it out towards Coleman Jones, who should have taken the mark, dropped it, had time to regather. Got it on by a hand to Rioli. Kicks down the outer side. Running onto its McIntosh. Will head inside forward 50. Put too much on it. Went over the head of Martin. Hearn was there. Couldn't believe it fell to him. He had it, gave it to Redden, who marks on to Gaff, and then running by a chance here for Cole to go up the middle.
Goes to Darling, who gives it off to Edwards by hand. He kicks inside 50. Allen's on his own. He marks 49 out. He looks inside 50, assesses his options, and now saunters backwards, looking like he'll go back and go through his routine.
Quick game at the moment.
Just opened up, hasn't it?
Yeah.
This quarter. Absolutely.
End to end.
So Oscar Allen, who's been mummified to a certain extent, strapping on the shoulder and the elbow and the left knee. A very straight approach. Boot to ball from 55, a thumping kick, and the desired result. 5 straight 30, the Eagles. Richmond 3-3-21, and a goal to mark the milestone 50th match for Oscar Allen, one of the young stars of the game, David Mundy, Shamo Woden.
Hard to get through from D50, but intercept with Shannon Hearn. Able to get their way through with kick mark, and then they're overlapped through the middle of the ground, and Oscar Allen found himself at the back all by himself.
Yeah, at the start of this second quarter, both teams doing a really good job absorbing that pressure through the hands, being able to get through the contest, and Richmond butchered their opportunity coming forward, but to get it in the hands of the big fella up forward. He's a beautiful kick, isn't he? Oscar Allen just pops it straight through from 55 metres, easy as you like.
Carried it easily, didn't he?
Flushed it. Oh, yeah, bit of cobra. One arm.
Just a single cobra.
I think that's his standard, I think.
Yep.
Could be an absolute superstar of the comp. Nadanui won it down, roved it himself to tap it to his own advantage. Cochin got there first, though, for the Tigers. To Hawley, wrapped up immediately by Yo. No prior, as he tried to get past him. Sensational tackle from Elliot Yo, and gets a big pat on the back from Nadanui as well to show his appreciation. Nadanui palmed it down behind him. Redden, hand pass was meant for Yo, knocked away from his grasp. Martin in there, strong to Graham. To Bolton for the Tigers. Kick towards right half forward, and he finds Coleman Jones sliding out for the Tigers.
Coleman Jones between wing and right half forward. Tries to send it into the pocket. Looking for Rewalt, and fisted out of play by Barris. Get a throw in the right forward pocket. Give Brad Johnson a lot of credit. I remember when Oscar Allen was drafted and it was low down at 21. He said that he thought he was the best player in the draft. As Allen slaps it down, Martin steals it, snaps on goal, and Dusty delivers a special from the right forward pocket. Oh, how good is he? The 4th goal of the night for Richmond. 4-3-27 the Tigers. West Coast 5 straight 30. A 3-point advantage to the West Coast Eagles. With a 3-time triple Norm Smith medalist doing Dusty things.
He didn't look. Very similar to that, his 4th goal in the grand final, where he just tried to pick the pocket of Elliot Yo there. One when he did with Dangerfield, and great snap from the boundary. I don't think he actually looked at all.
Just had a look at the replay, and I would have too, because that was a ripper.
Yeah, it's good.
Who needs a ruckman, hey? Oscar Allen. By himself in the ruck.
Do I get credited with a goal assist?
Wonderful goal from Dustin Martin. Been some great goals tonight. Some good footy. 3 points the margin in favour of the Eagles. We're back underway in the middle. Allen does the ruck work, does palm it down. Hits the deck. Shane Edwards tries to knock it out. Cochin in there. Couldn't get it past Sheed. Pickett tries to wrench it out of his grasp. Can't do so. Umpire will ball it up. Still in the centre circles.
LMV Pickett. Going back to their 17 system with their wingman as their second ruck.
Yep. Both rucks miss it. Redden's happy to take it up off the deck and gives it to Gaff, who puts it long for the Eagles inside forward 50. Ryan flew. You can hear the crowd grasp. Now Bolter has stayed down. Keep an eye on that as the Tigers go down the outer side through Baker and then to Caddy. Kicks towards right half forward. Bolton takes the mark, plays on immediately. Goes looking for Coleman Jones, who marks in the right forward pocket.
50.
And it's 52. He did get bumped after he'd taken the mark. I thought it was after the mark was completed. Reckon it's probably there. Rotherham, the player who offended for the Eagles. Let's have a look again at this on the replay on the big screen. So he's up Coleman Jones and marks.
Not a lot in it.
No. It didn't hit him that hard, and I think he might have almost been in the air on the replay. Coleman Jones from the goal square bangs it through to put the Tigers back in front. He sends it deep into the second tier at the Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium. And the Tigers are up by 3, 5-3-33 to the Eagles, 5 straight 30. 12 gone in the second. Was the free kick there, Shane Woden, David Mundy? The 50 metres,
I was a bit touchy, that 50.
Yeah, I wouldn't have played it. I think he may have played a little bit too much, Coleman Jones.
It's a nice little touch on the kick by Shea Bolton to get in there in between a couple of West Coast defenders.
Hasn't had his best kicking night, Shea Bolton, but that was well weighted. Steve Allen downstairs.
Noel Bolter A-OK after going to ground a little earlier in that passage.
Did get crunched, Glenn Ryan, one of those going up before.
So Richmond back in the lead. Haven't led since the 19-minute mark of the first term. In the middle, Allen opposed to Pickett, picking it up. There is Edwards, gives it off to Martin, thumps it to right half forward for Richmond. Foley outpoints his opponent. He's able to mark. Castagna, the opponent in question. Foley plays on, plays himself into a little bit of trouble. You mentioned that at quarter time, Shane Woden, as he goes back to Edwards. Edwards with poise. Pokes a pass to Sheed. Sheed chips around the boundary line and Redden comes up and marks. The man who was runner-up in their best and fairest in the premiership year in 2018. Kicks around the southern wing in the Darling direction. Knocks it down to Gaff. Handball to Allen. Handball received, fumbled by Darling. Allen goes back and gets it. Snaps it to Vlosten. And Richmond have it back, just backward of the wing.
Boston to Arts. Marks in the centre circles. Turns. Run down by Waterman holding the ball. Took a second too long. Jake Waterman. And he will turn it over. It was knocked to ground by Shane Edwards. Towards the commentary wing, the kick went. Rioli was able to go back and gather for the Tigers. He gives it to Vlosten. Goes back into the middle of the ground now with Cochin. Stepped around Cripps and then got a kick away. Goes past Pickett, who is waiting on the logo, out of sight. It'll stop before it trundles across the boundary line. Pickett mops it up. Sweeps it forward. Comes to Caddy. Hand pass was meant for Broad. And frustratingly for him, as the football sometimes do, it just kept going end over end away from him. He couldn't drag it in before it crosses the line about 55 out from the Tigers' attacking goal at right half forward. Richmond by 3 points, 15 gone in the second.
So Pickett and Allen again. Pickett knocks Allen out of the way. There's a whistle. Free kick to Allen. We'll have it at left half back for the Eagles. Kim says there are 6 of us listening, huddled around a fire under the stars with a beverage at Lake Kepwari Campground near Collie. I hope I've got that pronunciation right.
That is a good
not.
part of the world too, Collie.
Sounds good. That's set up too as Allen drives it long for the Eagles. Grimes goes up and marks. The Eagles fans thought there was a free kick, nothing doing. Grimes comes inboard to Edwards, who goes short to Graham. A very stocky Jack Graham gives off a handball to Short, the reigning best and fairest, to Broad. He sends it out wide and mark taken by Baker. So Richmond just working it around now on the northern wing. They lead by 3 points, the Tigers. Almost 16 minutes into this term, Baker kicks it out on the full. Eagles to get it back at right half back.
Have to say that about Collie. Got plenty of rallies down there. G'day to those listening. Jackson Nelson will take the free kick for the Eagles. And he'll just pop it short to find Rotham. True centre wing, 2 or 3 metres in from the boundary, just in front of the Eagles' interchange gates. He'll move it short again to Sheed. Just with the inboard kick, the Eagles not making any real ground forward. Sheed goes on a bit of a run towards the logo. He'll put it long. Scholes saw it, went up, took the mark. inside defensive 50 for the Tigers. Chol hands it on. Bolter, thumping kick. Back into the centre square. Castagna stretching, couldn't mark. Nelson tapped it to the advantage of Sheed. Hand passed it back to Nelson. Set upon by Shane Edwards straight away. It came to Lambert. Lambert, a hurried kick, was under pressure though. To Bolton though. Spilled out. Arts broke away from the gaff tackle. Kicks towards goal. It bounces through. They just kept going, the Tigers, and they've been able to stretch their lead out to 9 points. 6-3-39. The Eagles are 5 straight 30. Arts, a nice finish. His first goal of the game.
Another missed tackle, wasn't it? Gaff again here. Had the opportunity too. It was a poor decision or poor execution by Sheed with his kick inside 50. He'd be able to create the turnover, but yeah, you got to stick them, Gaffy.
How nice was the handball from Shea Bolton as well?
Yeah.
Looked for all money like it was... Well, I bought the candy up here. I thought it was going one way and went the other.
Yeah, very clean take as well. It sets him apart a little bit, gives him that extra time with the ball.
One-touch players are what everyone wants. 6-3-39. Richmond, West Coast, 5 straight 30. Chol and Natnui in the middle. Natnui jumps above him. Ball comes down at both of the ruck's feet. Jones burrows in for the Eagles. Sheed clatters in. Natnui tumbles over. Ball not coming out yet. Eventually, Sheed extracts it. Feeds a handball to Gaff on the outside. Floats it inside 50. And Broad is there. He can mark for Richmond. Kicks across the face of goal. To Bolter. Handball to Hawley. And now Baker stabs it short to Caddy, who comes infield. Dangerous kick. Oh, Bolter does well. Gathers on the run with one hand. Splits the middle. Kicks towards Edwards. And now Baker knocks it on.
Comes to Lambert. Lambert gets away from Hawley. Almost got in his way. Bolton flew. Couldn't mark. Over the top of the pack. Spills down again to Lambert. Back in the team after 6 weeks. He puts his name on the goal kickers list. And he gives the Tigers the biggest lead of the night so far. At the 17-minute mark of the second term, they're 7-3-45. The Eagles 5 straight 30 on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
He's a big game player, Lambert. He's had an influence on this game already with the 17 times. Already 7 in this quarter. It's his work rate what sets him above, I think, in this game of AFL. He's just ability to get up and down the ground. Huge tank.
Wow.
And as a high half forward, plays his role.
Sorry, Shane, I was just watching a replay of the Bolton attempted mark.
Has he landed yet?
Oh, goodness me, he got up a long way. There was no chance to get that excited about it because it spilled down to Lambert for the goal, but wowee.
Natnui gets up high here, taps it down to Gav, who handballs it to Sheed. Out to Edwards on the wing. He'll retreat and go back to Rotham. What's changed with Richmond kicking the last 4 goals, gents?
Since when they win it off half back, that's where they transition the footy from. They just go quick, and West Coast having a time to defend it.
Rotham kicks around the wing. Ball goes over the pack. Kennedy knocks it on. Jones coming through. Almost decapitated. He'll get a free kick. Man on the mark. And the mark will be set 45 metres out. Very kickable here for Jermaine Jones. Former Cat. He's played all 12 games so far this season. The Eagles need it just to stem the flow. Just slightly right of centre. Right side for a left footer. Comes in, sends it on its way and finds the major opening. Boy, did the Eagles need that. Back to 9 points. The Eagles 6 straight 36. Richmond 7-3-45. Shane Woden and David Mundy.
It shows the value of being efficient going forward, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like Richmond are really controlling this game, but West Coast gone forward, kicked 2 really nice goals and are well and truly in the hunt.
What are they from inside 50s? 21 inside 50s for 6 scoring shots and not wasting any of their shots on target, are they? Jermaine Jones with what is his 10th goal of the season for the former Cat.
They're back to a 9-point margin. Ending a run of, as Ben said, 4 unanswered Tigers goals. Scholes returned to do the ruck work against Natanui. Natanui got it down to Redden, tackled by Bolton straight away. In the innermost of the 2 centre circles, will be balling it up. Crowd has certainly come in around about the 50,000 mark as Natanui got it to himself and then kicked forward. Attempted effort by Langdon, shoveling it forward to Kennedy. Went through his legs, then looked to slap it out. Couldn't quite pick it up. Graham happy to get it for the Tigers. Kicks to the outer wing. Castagna wanted it, chasing it alongside Foley. Falls over the boundary line. It'll be a throw-in. Lambert's had it 17 times. Remarkable again, coming back after 6 games out with the calf injury. Hooley 13, Bolton 12. Redden the best for the Eagles with 18 disposals so far. Back into play. Natanui palmed it over his left shoulder. Yo had it, lost it. Martin goes out after it, picks it up for the Tigers. Goes back by hand to Hooley, to Baker. From right half back, kicks in the middle of the ground and finds Short, who outmarks Langdon. Short for the Tigers, kicks towards centre wing. Outer side, Lambert will have it once more. This will be disposal 18.
Lambert comes infield to Jaden Short. Pokes it to Graham. Just forward of neutral territory. He stabs it back to Short. Short now goes over the top to Hooley. So still on that southern wing here, Richmond. Very deliberate in their approach now. Hooley just sends it long towards a contest. Coleman Jones is there. Spoil from Barris. Spills out to Lambert for back-to-back goals. He's missing. Away to the left.
Watched him the whole time around their attacking mid there, just by himself. Yep.
He's starting as a forward coming up, letting Shea and Dusty do Shea and Dusty things, moving forward, doing what they want. So he might be just getting off the chains through the midfield a bit.
Hearn goes on a bit of a run to right full back, and the spots Langdon dropped the chest mark, needed to do better. Luke Foley couldn't gather. Vlosten could. Umpire spotted a free kick. Foley was taken a bit high. Disappointing from Langdon. The Eagles are looking to set up. The Tigers have now been able to get players back. Comes to Duggan at right half back. Back once more with the inbound pass to Edwards. Son of a gun. Good kick to Foley. The Eagles switch to the outer side. It comes to Cole. Here's a chance for West Coast. To Waterman, marking uncontested. Just forward of the wing. Comes back to the logo, to Foley again. Another uncontested mark for West Coast. A couple of options on Short. Instead, he'll put it high up into the air to land at centre half forward. McIntosh was there, through his hand, spilled down to Cripps, snaps around the body, backing back broad, couldn't mark, under pressure, did well, but then his kick is down the throat of Waterman. Ryan provided the pressure with Broad back there, and the kick's turned over. Now Jake Waterman, who has come into the side, he was the late in with Petruccelli, the late out for West Coast, has a chance to have a shot from about 50 outs. He's in the left forward pocket.
Like Foley, for a young player, just really step in AFL footy. He wants the ball in his hands all the time.
Normally a pretty good set shot. Jake Waterman. Boots cross the 50. Kicks on its way. He puts it through the middle. West Coast have been able to respond. They bring the margin back with consecutive goals to just 4 points. They're 7 straight 42. They do not mess around when they get chances. Richmond remain on top though, 7-4-46. The Tigers by 4, 26 gone in the second term. Our experts on Grandstand AFL, thanks to ABC Sport, David Mundy and Shane Wowod.
Well, they tried to kick it around that time, didn't they? West Coast, and great pressure by Ryan in the goal square, and Waterman closed the ground out really well too. So on the back of some pressure inside forward 50 out to win the ball back.
Yeah, one of the few times tonight from their back half, especially able to use the width of the ground, move the ball a little bit forward, and ended up still sending it to a contest, but able to defend behind it a lot better.
You must think, geez, how nice is that? 7 straight, David.
Lovely, wouldn't it?
Yesterday, the first time this year, the Dockers have kicked more goals than behinds. As out of the middle, Sheed is tackled into the ground. The umpire will say holding the ball.
Hey, the idea is to make David welcome in the box.
Now it's on. Emerging with it is Redden in the centre circles. Nui and Chol still fighting on. No mark taken inside 50 for the Eagles. The fight disperses. And they realise they've spent a lot of petrol tickets wrestling on the ground as they try to make the next contest.
Now, it was Graham on the ground. Redden came over the top, wanted to give him a little one in the middle, and then Graham's responded with a couple of efforts to try to get rid of the football that really ended up hitting Redden in the face. And from that, it all did blow up. The ball's at right half forward for the Eagles. Cripps tackles Bolton. He's been wrapped up, and it's a holding the ball decision. Cripps goes back quickly. He'll put it towards the hot spot. Punch came from Broad at the back. He sees it through for a rush behind. 3 points the margin. 7-4-46 to 7-1-43. First blot of the Eagles copybook. 28 gone in the second. That will be interesting to see that again.
Bit of heat in the game at the moment.
Yeah.
Might cost Jack Graham a little bit of cash, that one.
Loston comes up the middle. Goes to Short, who moves it to Hawley. Can you just confirm to us, David Mundy, as to whether the players do actually pay those fines? As Short kicks towards the wing and Foley comes in and marks.
The few I've been given, I certainly have.
Foley kicks into the middle of the ground for the Eagles. Redden marks. He's got Kennedy at right half forward. Sends it in that direction now. Hitting back, McIntosh gets a fist to it. Sure. Eagles thought there was a free kick. Umpire says play on. McIntosh tackled by Kennedy. Hearn picks it up. Gives it off the gap. Kennedy looks inside 50 for the Eagles. Towards full forward. Chol's back there. Ryan steals it out of his hands. Ball jars free in the pocket. Floston picks it up. Gives it off to Hawley. A cool head. And he pokes it to Castagna in the right back pocket. The Tigers live.
They defended that well, Richmond, under genuine pressure. Castagna short to Baker. Very short, but enough to be called a mark by the officials. We're going to the right back pocket again. Chance for Short. Short thumps it long to the outer side. One-on-one battle. Coleman Jones too tall for Harry Edwards, and he marks. Got it for the Tigers. He glances inboard and actually kicks backwards to Short again. Gathered these bootlaces. Kicks in the direction of Pickett. Did well to outpoint Duggan to mark it. Shy of right half forward for the Tigers. He'll kick across half forward. 2 Tigers were there. They could have raffled it. Arts marks, allows Rioli to run forward. Arts hands it off. This is Hawley with it now from 52 out. Won't quite have the carry. Caddy tries to bring it down to ground up against Hearn. Hearn gave it back to Rothen. The Eagles now cool under pressure. Kicks beyond defensive 50. Ball bounces at right half back. Tigers get there first again. Graham by hand. On in turn to McIntosh. Kicks into the left. Well, he was trying to. He actually kicked beyond the left forward pocket and over the boundary line, out of bounds on the full. Free kick for the Eagles. They'll have it through the hands of Cole, and they trail by 3 points. The Tigers 7-4, the Eagles 7-1. Half an hour gone in the second.
So Cole drives it long to a contest on the wing in the Allen direction. Darling there too. Darling with a fist on it. Now to play. We'll get a throw in between the interchange gates. 3 points, Richmond's lead.
One behind the ball now, West Coast in Waterman. Just for the last minute and a half.
Pickett in the ruck. Taps it down beautifully to Bolton. South Fremantle connection as Bolton goes inside 50 and Riewoldt is able to juggle it and mark. 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
Tom Brash is coming on from the interchange. He'll be filthy.
Well, Riewoldt's going to snap it. Have to snap it from 40. This will be his third of the match if he can bend it home. From distance, Riewoldt hooks it on goal and hooks it too far.
You know what Rothen was thinking? He had the spare in front of him, and then he tried to come and play front shoulder and just had to control the backspace and kill the contest.
It's a good drop punt. I don't love that from Jack Riewoldt. Where do you two stand?
As I said, I've always been with they're practicing it and over and over again.
It's a long way out to do it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Eagles move it beyond their defensive 50. It's towards right half back, and they've spotted a free kick, the officials. Player ping for a push. It was Pickett. It's going to come to Darling. Time almost up in the first half. Terrific game so far between these two monster clubs. The kick from Darling towards the commentary wing, and a good mark to Vlosten. Did well to outpoint his two opponents. Finds McIntosh. McIntosh wheels around from centre wing. He'll put it inside forward 50. Do the Tigers have time for one more? Barris got a fist of the footy. It came to Martin. Oh, here's danger. Great tackle. Langdon one way, Red on the other. Might have just saved the day. Gave no opportunity for Martin to get a kick on the footy. He was 45 metres out in line with the left hand behind post. She just never back against him. Richmond, though, will go to the half-time break. 4 points to the good of the West Coast Eagles. The Tigers are 7-5-47. West Coast 7-1-43 on Grandstand AFL.
So the goal kickers to the half for the West Coast Eagles first. Josh Kennedy with a couple. And then also for the Eagles, Nick Nantnui, Oscar Allen, Jamie Cripps and Jermaine Jones. While for Richmond, Jack Riewoldt with a couple, Dustin Martin, Kane Lambert, Jack Graham and Callum Coleman-Jones, as well as Jake Arts. So those are the goal kickers. A 4-point advantage to Richmond at halftime. Shane Woden and David Mundy. What did you make of the second term and the first half overall?
It's a good game of footy. It's an arm wrestle. You know, it's end-to-end stuff at the moment too. And I thought that quarter was a bit of a shootout, really, wasn't it? You know, and probably West Coast probably haven't been able to play their brand as well as they probably would like, I reckon. And game's probably not set up for them at the moment to be able to do that. So hopefully in the second half they'll be able to control it by foot a little bit more and be able to get some probably more deeper entries too at times. Then probably a bit shallow there at occasions, weren't they?
Yeah, well, I think West Coast will be disappointed with their clearance numbers at the moment. We know Richmond don't put a lot of stock, a lot of value in winning clearances. They get a lot of their ball movement off the back of that. So I think it's relatively tight at the moment in the numbers in that area, but I think West Coast could be much more efficient on the back of those clearance wins, moving the ball forward, a bit better entries, because we know both defences really like those long straight line entries, get that aerial support.
Fascinating through to half-time. Interesting, Shea Bolton, his first half, it was different. He had a couple of shots that we'd usually expect Shea Bolton to take full toll with and sent them out of bounds on the full, and still had a few highlights along the way.
Well, that's how you look at it, isn't it? Is glass half full or glass half empty? He's had 3 unpressured shots on goal for a point.
Still look dangerous. Without as being as effective he probably has been in the previous weeks. But you're right, you still like him be having 3 shots on goal.
Yeah.
It's a great effort, but just hasn't flushed them.
And there have been a couple of instances so far tonight. We have seen Richmond's MO really shine, and I think one was that Graham goal. I mean, it was knock-on, surge on. They just kept the energy on the ball, and eventually it sort of, through the chaos, they get it inside 50, and Jack Graham is a very, very good finisher on the run inside 50 these days.
Yeah, and if you don't anticipate the handball soon enough to be able to come forward to pressure the handball, and you can get caught in no man's land too. So, yes, the handball invites the heat, but if you don't anticipate quick enough and put pressure on the ball carrier, it just domino through the whole field, and they're able to do that, and that's when they're at their strength.
So what do you need to do when you're stopping that? You've been out there trying to stop it, David. How do you? Or what's the instruction anyway?
Yeah, well, quite often team defences at the moment, the motto is if one goes, we all go. So that coming forward to when you see a player out, you've got to make that instinctual call really early. If you hesitate or think about it, it's often too late, and then you do get caught in between. So it's a really, really tricky and difficult one because you know you've got help on the other side of the field. Your wingers, the half forwards, really busting their ass to come slide behind to help you out. So it's a really difficult one, and it's an instinctual reaction. It's not, you can't think about it.
And the guys behind you rely on you forward to make the decision, don't they?
Absolutely.
If you get caught in no man's land, they're stuck as well.
But what we've also seen in those moments, a few missed tackles.
Yep.
Yeah, that absolutely kills you as a defence. You're relying on the guy in front of you to get the job done, whether it's laying a tackle or not getting stepped or making the ball go in a predictable area. Those missed tackles really hurt.
One of the interesting stats to half-time, West Coast 51 marks, Richmond 56. Seems high for Richmond. We know West Coast generally, particularly when they were successful in 2018, if they had over 90, they won. So if they could get to that marker, that was their KPI. But that seems a little high for Richmond. Fascinating.
It is, but they've probably kicked it around a little bit in their back half and to control it, and which is probably a little bit more abnormal, really. So it's not really their ammo, but yeah, West Coast are a bit low at this stage. So the game's quick. The game's quick at the moment for both teams.
Well, with Richmond, what we've been able to see is them accessing the corridor through those long down the line contests or off the back of a stoppage loss. Hooley and these kind of guys working the ball back inside, kick mark, generating their play from there.
And just a word on Kane Lambert. Comes back into the team 6 weeks out, 20 possessions to the half and 3 inside 50s, 10 contested possessions to go along with 1 goal won. And we spoke about how much of a valued player, I think is maybe the best way to put it, is for Richmond.
Absolutely. And I think they're grooming Jack Graham to almost be the next Kane Lambert. The triumvirate of those guys and Dusty Martin and Shai Bolton are working together and letting the superstars really shine and really exert themselves on the field. The guys like Kane Lambert and Jack Graham are the grunt work guys who are working really hard, getting contest to contest, really efficient with ball in hand and just doing their job. And
internally would be praised a lot, but doesn't get a lot of kudos outside as probably as much. But yeah, very underrated player. And as I said before, just his ability to work. I think he's got 9 ground ball. I think their ground ball gets at the moment too. So that's just getting a contest, win it, do his role, and then get forward again.
Great work from Shane Woden and David Mundy explaining what's happening out there on the deck at Perth Stadium. It is half-time here on Grandstand AFL. It's living up to what we hoped it would be. Richmond 7-5-47, leading West Coast 7-1-43. A 4-point advantage the way of the Tigers. But right now, an opportunity to pause and take the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. Divisions continue within coalition ranks over the future of a Tamil asylum seeker family currently in immigration detention on Christmas Island. The family was removed from its home in Biloela in 2018 after a 4-year-old girl was medically evacuated last week to Perth. Liberal backbencher Katie Allen and Trent Zimmerman are calling for the family to be allowed to return to Biloela, but Nationals MP Anne Webster says allowing that would set a difficult precedent.
We need to be very clear about the principles that we hold and the processes, which they've had due process here, and have been found without reason to stay as refugees.
More than 40,000 Victorian properties are still blacked out as a huge clean-up continues following devastating storms and flooding. The State Emergency Service still has more than 300 outstanding requests for help, mostly in Lilyfield, Emerald and Maroondah. Emergency Management Commissioner Andrew Crisp says they're working out how many homes and businesses have been damaged.
There's ongoing work, impact assessment across the major areas that have been impacted, and not just in relation to flood, but storm. My latest advice is that those impact assessment teams have visited almost 600 properties, and there's about 140 that have been impacted in one way or another.
One new locally acquired coronavirus case has been identified in Victoria as health authorities closely monitor Melbourne's northeast after unexpected viral fragments were detected in wastewater. Yvette Gray reports.
The new locally acquired infection was detected among more than 17,000 tests processed yesterday. The health department says the case is a primary close contact of another case and had been quarantining throughout their infectious period. It brings the total number of active cases in Victoria to 68. Meantime, COVID-19 viral fragments have emerged in a sewer catchment servicing about 33,000 people in Heidelberg and surrounding areas. An alert has been issued for anyone who visited 14 suburbs between the 9th and 10th of June to get tested if they develop any COVID symptoms.
The head of the European Union's drug regulator says countries should avoid giving the AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine to people over the age of 60. It comes amid fears over a blood clotting disorder, mainly among young people, as more vaccines become available. The European Medicines Agency considers AstraZeneca safe for all age groups, but some EU countries have stopped giving it to people below a certain age, usually ranging from 50 to 65, and restricting its use to the older population. China's sought to downplay the importance of the current G7 meeting of leading nations in Britain. A spokesman for the Chinese embassy in London says the days when a small group of countries decide the fate of the world are long gone. Dealing with the rise of China has been a key agenda item at the summit. At least 2 soldiers and a police officer have been killed as Islamist militancy continues to spread in West Africa. They died after their vehicle hit an explosive device near the border with Burkina Faso. It's the second incident in a week as attacks spread from farther to the north into the Sahel region. The Western Australian government is bringing forward by 4 years plans to ban single-use and disposable plastics. The decision means plastic plates, cutlery, straws and polystyrene takeaway containers will be phased out by the end of the year. Disposable coffee cups will be banned by the end of next year. WA Environment Minister Amber Jade Sanderson says the government won't be enforcing compliance for the first 6 months, and they want to work with businesses to provide better choices for consumers.
So we're really encouraging people to bring their own cups when they come and get a coffee, and if they can't, then retailers will need to provide environmentally friendly alternatives.
In sport, Parramatta's finished the latest NRL round in third place after a 28-point victory over the West Tigers at home. A superb solo try from Mitch Moses against his former club and another brilliant effort from Maika Sivo sealed the 40-12 victory for Parramatta to make it back to back wins and stay in touch with the Panthers and Storm at the top of the table. Greater Western Sydney and North Melbourne have played out the first draw of the AFL season, finishing 94-all in Hobart. The Kangaroos showed more desperation and led by 28 points at three-quarter time, but the Giants stormed back in the final quarter. GWS forward Daniel Lloyd kicked 2 late goals and then missed altogether with a shot in the final minute that would have won the game. ABC News.
For the latest sports results and stories from around the globe and at home, check out ABC Sport on our social pages. Just search ABC Sport wherever you scroll. When history is made.
It's all over. India have won. India have won magnificently.
ABC Sport is there.
He's over the halfway line. Vancouver coming. Game, set, bingo. Premiership.
Commercial free.
The Tigers are still the best team in the land. 3 flags in 4 years for Richmond.
ABC Sport. On radio, online and on the ABC Listen app.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Yo for the Eagles. Forward handball to Kennedy. Has to get around a would-be tackler. Now stabs it short. Jones marks. Attacking into the square. Kennedy receives it back. Floats it to Cripps. He comes in and slots it from 35. Rioli along the ground to Caddy, who goes back to Rioli. Bursts one tackle. Slips over. Feeds it out. Graham runs to 30. Kicks a wonderful goal. To Edwards. He kicks inside 50. Allen's on his own. He marks 49 out. Boot to ball from 55. A thumping kick. And the desired result. Allen slaps it down. Martin steals it. Snaps on goal. And Dusty delivers a special from the right forward pocket. Oh, how good is he?
Then a hurried kick was under pressure though. So Bolton spilled out. Arch broke away from the gaff tackle. Kicks towards goal. It bounces through. Bolton flew. Couldn't mark over the top of the pack. Spills down again to Lamberts. Back in the team after 6 weeks. He puts his name on the goal kickers list and he gives the Tigers the biggest lead of the night so far.
Ball goes over the pack. Kennedy knocks it on. Jones coming through. Almost decapitated. He'll get a free kick. The mark will be set 45 metres out. Comes in. Sends it on its way and finds the major opening. Boy, did the Eagles need that.
Backing back forward, couldn't mark under pressure. Did well, but then his kick is down the throat of Waterman. Boots cross the 50, kicks on its way. He puts it through the middle. West Coast have been able to respond. They bring the margin back with consecutive goals to just 4 points.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Richmond leading by 4 points at the main break here on Grandstand AFL Sunday night football from out west on the eve of Queen's birthday. A big day, of course, for the AFL community. And Shane Woden, one of your former coaches, Neil Danaher, will be recognised tomorrow with Big Free 7, the play-on message on the front of the VIB, as they're calling it, the very important beanie. I got mine in XXL on the way in today.
Yeah, he's been incredible, hasn't he, Neil, for what he's done. He's an inspiring man. It's sad at the moment to see where he's at right now, and but the influence he's had, not only me but our footy club that head, but the footy world and the community and country and everyone alike. It's an incredible story.
So inspiring.
Oh, absolutely. It's been unbelievable. So what was he done in his 7th year? And he just wants to fight. So, and he knows you can see him now. It's getting worse with his speech and his inability to do things. So, it's terrific at the moment.
The message is perfect when he gave the speech to the Melbourne players, that you have two options and there's opportunity in everything. So he found the opportunity to fight and try and do something positive with the diagnosis. So hopefully successful tomorrow. Big Free 7, a great cause that the AFL community has rallied around and done a great job of doing so.
Can't wait to see the Wizard go down the slide.
You reckon he doesn't like the cold?
He's never done an ice bath. He's never done one.
The Wiz. Did you overlap with?
Yeah, quite a few. Yep.
How many?
Oh,
geez,
not
you've
sure
crossed
many,
so many generations, David.
I'm a bridger between generations, yeah.
You absolutely are. Jeez, the amount of you probably wouldn't remember a few names of a few of the blokes you found yourself on the list with at the same time.
Well, there's been a few, yeah, but just while we're on Wiz, I'd be surprised if he doesn't get wet. He's in and out so quick in that slide tomorrow. He hates it.
What a man, the Wiz. The great Jeffrey Farmer. Jeez, he was good to watch back in the day, wasn't he? I was there the day he kicked the goal after the siren. I think
it was
against Melbourne.
It was against us at Subi.
Yeah, it was pushing back in the right forward pocket at Subiaco.
Yeah, that day.
0-2.
Is it
around that mark?
Was it Neats that gave it away?
Yes. Yeah, we were shattered he left. We were disappointed.
His best goal celebration I've seen was still in London. He jumped into the crowd, gave himself a little clap. Absolute exhibition game, yeah.
Wow. That's very good. Some of the text coming through 0437 774 774 if you wish to let us know where you're listening and how. Andrew and Renee, Richmond supporters from Tassie, currently in Port Hedland in WA. We hope Jack Rewalt kicks the winning goal to make his 700th. That'd be something. Another SMS says, sitting in the Catherine Caravan Park in the NT, listening to your broadcast, Go Tigers, enjoying the call too. Thank you. That's anonymous. Kylie says, hi guys, made it safely to Cable Beach in Broome. Glad you all made it back from Sydney. That was only Clint, but we're glad he made it back too. Keep up the good work. ABC Grandstand is the best. So thank you for that. I like this one as well. Zach in Perth, currently running along the Swan River training for my first marathon. Keep up the good work. I need the company. Also loving David Mundy on the call. The man can do no wrong. Go Freo. And another SMS says, hi Ben, Clint, David Mundy legend, Shane great, top call, go Eagles, listening on ABC Sports Digital Radio. That's from Grant in Waterloo in Sydney. So Clint, you and I, we're just going, but David and Shane, legends.
Positive feedback's always very nice. Thank you very much.
The experts get a bit of it, us less so here in the front row. Gents, what are you expecting in the second half as the players move to their position?
A continual arm wrestle at the moment for me. That's the way the game's unfolding, and sometimes as coaches you'd probably like to crack it open a lot earlier, but it's a grind, and it might be to the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think West Coast will try and squeeze Richmond's ball movement. Once West Coast get the ball into their kind of attacking half of the ground, trying to take away those corridor and switch options, similar to what Richmond are doing to West Coast in that first half.
Some of the numbers, Clint, before we get this second half underway.
As Perth Stadium explodes in the blue and gold lights, having a look, Kane Lambert's had it 20 times so far for the Tigers on his return from injury. Hooley with 18, Short with 16, Bolton and Vostok with 13. Leading the way for the Eagles, Redden with 20, Foley 16. That Luke Foley, of course, the youngster, she with 16, Adenui with 15. The disposals to Richmond, 218 to 182. The marks the way of Richmond, 56 to 51. Inside 50, the Eagles have had 6 to 4. The inside 50s in total, Richmond 28 to 25. 27 tackles apiece. Uncontested possessions, Richmond 143, West Coast 110. The contested possessions 74-67 in favour of the Tigers, and the free kicks to the Eagles by 2, 7 to 5. About to get this third term underway. Richmond lead by 4 points from the bounce. Chol with the more telling tap. He follows up as well. Gathers and kicks deep to fall forward. Good battle on there. Harry Edwards went up. He's been paid the mark. Coleman Jones protests his innocence as Revolt does his best just to lay in the way. Thought they might have had a touch on that, the Tigers. Nevertheless, Harry Edwards goes into the left back pocket. He finds Hearn. Moves it short to Nelson. Nelson with his boots on the boundary line. Short to Barris, who marks just beyond the defensive 50. Trots back into it to take his kick. He'll look to come down the line. Kick towards centre wing. Kennedy out after it. Almost had enough on it. Bolter was able to see it at the ground. Bounces back to him. Comes now towards Lambert. Then to Shane Edwards. Hand pass intercepted by Jones. Spun around for the Eagles. Kicks looking for Darling. He slipped over. Boston thought he was being infringed. Darling continues on. Boston just shepherds him out of the way. Umpire said play on. Gives Broad a chance to pick it up, and he'll go deep inside his defensive 50, finding it short, and moves it again to McIntosh in the left back pocket.
So McIntosh chips short again. Finds Short. He pokes it over the top to Hooley at left half back. Quite incredible to think that Asher Hooley observes Ramadan while playing AFL football. It's not Ramadan at the moment, but he does as he kicks towards the wing. Coleman Jones goes up, brings it down. Edwards sweeps a handball forward for Richmond. Handball over the top from Lambert. Hearn comes the other way. Halves the contest. Knocks it out towards Yo. Now Foley runs a little zigzag and then kicks to Natnui on the chest. The Eagles moving it into the middle of the ground. Redden pinpoints Darling inside the centre square. He'll chip it towards Gaff. Has a lead inside 50. Looks beyond that. In the Allen direction. Chol gets back. Drops the mark. Allen goes in to pick it up. Cripps in there too. Langdon handball away. Cochin pinches it. Richmond bounce out of their D50.
Handing it forward. Pickett. Tigers, they lose possession. Will come to Sheed, who goes short. And marking inside forward 50s Langdon. Frustration for the Tigers. How they made a mess of that. Just having another look on the replay, looking to move it forward, just a drop football. Eagles recover, rebound, and now have a shot on goal.
It's a funny one with that handball, isn't it? It's the forward hand, which is their style, but it can get you undone a little bit, and that was probably a little bit behind him as well.
Yeah, just transferring the pressure there as well.
So Langdon looking to kick a goal from about 48 out. He's given it a lot, not quite enough. Chol leaping up and punching it through for a rush behind. So the Tigers see their lead cut to 3 points. We've gone 3 minutes in the third.
Loston short to the right back pocket, and Hooley, who moves it on to Broad, feigns a handball and gets back off the mark. So 3 points, Richmond's advantage. It was 4 at the half. Broad sets it up to the wing. Barris comes in from the side. Very shaggy looking Tom Barris, growing his hair out this year, and he's got it on the wing. The kick back inside 50 towards Kennedy. He's in the pack. Bolter's there, stands up and marks. In the right back pocket, Noah Bolter. He kicks back to fullback. And Broady's able to take it in his defensive goal square for Richmond. Kicks to the back pocket and short. Mark just readjusted. Short then whacks it long. Out towards Coleman Jones, who goes straight up, double grabs it. Completes the mark. Chips it short to Hooley. Just backward of halfway on the southern side of the ground. Basher Hooley as he kicks towards the logo. Rotham comes in, chops it off. Edwards, his handball chopped off by Edwards. So that was Harry, his handball chopped off by Shane Edwards. Now Yo gets involved. Jones goes in for the Eagles. Harry Edwards taken to ground. And we'll get a ball up. We should have heeded the advice of the text earlier on, suggesting the first names. I got caught out. 3 points, Richmond's lead, 5 minutes into the third.
Edwards everywhere. This, though, is Redden gathering the footy off the deck. Over it again to Gaff. Now to Cripps. Kicks high and long towards right half foot. Allen! Oh, that's a really clever mark. Leaping up into the air to outpoint his opponent in Broad, and then kicks looking to Kennedy. Broad getting back. Couldn't quite get there in time. And Josh Kennedy marks in the right forward pocket. If he shoots on goal, he'll be kicking from about 48 out, right up against the boundary.
Defending a lot better as a unit this quarter, West Coast. Really able to keep the ball in their forward half, stop Richmond getting that open play, ball movement that we saw in the first half.
Josh Kennedy looking for what would be a third goal of the game. Here comes Kennedy from 49 out, right up against the boundary line. The kick doesn't quite have the carry, and it's rushed through. Punched across the line by Vlosten for a minor score. The Eagles getting closer again by inches. Richmond's lead is 2 points, 6 gone in the third.
Loston short to the pocket to Hooley, who moves it onto Broad, who offers step, sends it long towards the logo. Going up, Harry Edwards opposed to Coleman Jones. Now it's knocked out to Cole, handball to Redden. West Coast with it on the wing. Gaff will retreat. Goes right back to right half back and Hearn, who chips it to Rotham. Rotham moves it to Sheed. Sheed comes infield to Hearn just. A fingertipper, he drags in the mark, then plays on. Thumps it long on that right leg towards half forward. Natnui behind. Fists it down. Coleman Jones trying to rove. Or McIntosh it is rather. And Yo comes away with the footy. Handball back to Foley. Yo with the fumble. Knocks it to Foley. Foley handballs out in front. Gaff coming one way. Broad applies the tackle. And he holds it in. The umpire circles and says, let me throw it up. 60 metres out from the attacking goal for the Eagles at right half forward. Richmond by 2 points.
Interesting matchup inside forward 50 for the Eagles. Short is on Allen at the moment. And the restart, bobbles around, Lambert won it down to Shane Edwards. Spears the ball into the middle of the ground. Revolts there. Marks and plays on off a step. One-on-one battle at full forward. And then Barras did well. It was Hearn up against Martin. Barras came across to lend support, got a fist to the footy. It's still in play. Shoveled back by Rioli. Chance for Coleman Jones, had one go at it, then a second, picked it up, misses. From left full forward. Minor score. Tigers 7-6-48, the Eagles 7-3-45.
Just, the Lambert handball had a stoppage.
The one to Shane Edwards.
Very good.
Harry Edwards here in the left back pocket. Kicks it short to Duggan. Duggan marks. Still inside the defensive 50. Hemmed up just inside the boundary line. So on that left leg, we'll set it up to the wing. Kennedy underneath the football. Nat Nui picks it up off the deck, gives it back to Kennedy, who throws it over his head. And the umpire says deliberate. Well, perhaps right outcome, wrong route to get there, if you like. Free kick taken by Broad onto Short, who then moves it back to Grimes at half-back for Richmond. They lead by 3 points, 7-6 plays 7-3 as Grimes kicks towards half-forward. Pickett goes up. Kennedy in front. Pickett then roves. Little 1-2 with Lambert. Pickett to Martin, to Baker. somehow on the left. I'm not sure that was intentional. A spiral that goes 30 metres and lands in the lap of McIntosh. Now he moves it to Vlosten on the southern wing for the Tigers.
Vlosten looking for Rioli. Hits him on the chest. He marks uncontested. About 70 out. The attacking goal for the Tigers at the city end of Perth Stadium. Goes back to Vlosten. Steps off his line and then sends it into the forward pocket. Stretching. The mark's being paid. That's a good grab to McIntosh. Really had to stretch. Falling backwards. Mark's right up against the boundary. Left forward pocket. He's about 40 from goal.
Great kick. West Coast defence assuming it was going top of the goal square. Just pulled it late.
Just 1-1 for the season so far from 11 games. This is 12th of the year tonight. Camden McIntosh. He looked to snap around the body and it hits the right-hand goalpost. Looked pretty good most of the way. Just didn't curl enough for him. A minor score. They're back out to what they were at half-time, the Tigers. 7-7-49. 4 points in front of West Coast. 7-3-45. 10 gone now in the third term. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Hearn brings it back in, goes short up the middle to Cole. He looks laterally, pinpoints Rotham. Eagles faithful a little restless. 4 points the advantage to Richmond. Rotham looks infield, now will hug the boundary with the long kick. Up comes Grimes, a lot of it, and he's paid the mark. So Grimes comes infield to Bolton for Richmond. Bolton thinks about heading towards the northern wing, gives it off to Bolter, floats a kick to Martin on the logo. Plays traffic cop momentarily. Kicks towards half forward. Over the head of Arts it goes and it skips out. We'll get a throw in right on the elbow of the boundary line in the 50-metre arc. 4 points. Richmond's lead. 7-7 plays 7-3. 11 travelled third term. Grandstand AFL.
Ball back into play again. Pickett went early. Allen palmed it down. Gaff put his head over the football. Slapped it out the side. Bolton couldn't quite gather. Allen tapped it towards the boundary line, and the umpire will say ball it in. Random thought for the evening. What would you call a collective of Edwards?
Ed Y.
The Ed Y? What about an envelope of Edwards? They're always weird, those collective names. Anyway, throwing in again. This is Allen. Won it down, but comes towards Caddy of the Tigers. Gets a hand pass away, only as far as Luke Edwards, and then gets a kick towards the right back pocket. Backing back there. Rotham tackled, was wrapped up by McIntosh. Umpire says holding the ball. Well, he had a sighter here just a couple of minutes ago, and it wasn't far away. Gets a little bit of advice from Jack Revolt walking by. Possibly a little bit further out. Not much. I reckon Jack was saying, kick the drop punt, which was interesting. He's going to as well. So after trying the snap around the body, McIntosh will now go with the drop punt. Right up against the boundary, 45 metres out. He misses this time to the near side. Another minor score. 7-8-50, the Tigers. They lead by 5 over the Eagles. 7-3-45, 13 gone in the third.
SMS here saying, I'm working in the hometown of David Mundy, who is amazing, but I'm all Eagles. That's from Sue. Hearn goes really short to Cole from the kick-in. What are the main attractions in Seymour? David, as Cole kicks beyond the defensive arc. Coming up, Kennedy can't quite take the mark. At ground level, Grimes for Richmond. Handball away to Graham, who gives it on to Edwards, onto Bolton, inside 50. Riewoldt doesn't complete it. Rioli roves. Handball to McIntosh. Chips to the pocket. Coleman Jones waits and marks. Again, Richmond, they just move it around by hand. And eventually they find something of their liking. And Coleman Jones can go back from deep in the left forward pocket. He'll kick around the corner.
Just can't get out their back half at the moment, West Coast. They set up really well defensively, Richmond.
Coleman Jones snaps on goal and bends it through beautifully. Richmond out by 11. Coleman Jones has got a couple. 8-8-56 Richmond. West Coast 7-3-45 here on Grandstand AFL. Shane Woden and David Mundy.
Yeah, a bit of Richmond scramble ball there moving forward with the ball, and Coleman Jones almost all alone in the pocket converts really nicely. Originally founded as the crossing place of the Goulburn River, Ben Seymour in Victoria. Great spot.
What other tourism sites, though? What would you go to?
Goulburn River.
Kids Park, local Seymour Lions home den.
Yeah.
There's an amazing hamburger joint that pulls people off the freeway heading north or south.
Shout out to all of you who are listening in Seymour. The ABC very strong in the regions, as we know. Great to have you with us.
Big rat for any town that's got a good hamburger joint. Absolutely. Down to the footy. Chol won it down straight to Martin. He's able to wrestle his way free. Got a kick away. Nelson intercepts across half back. Rotherham dropped it for the Eagles. Gave it to Luke Edwards. And then on in turn to Cole, who kicks down the line and does well. Finds Cripps. Leading strongly to the football. Marks just shy of centre wing, northern side. Kicks towards left half forward. Ryan up from the side. Couldn't mark. Brings it to ground, though. Darling got tackled. Just got it out. Shoveled back by Sheen. Crashed into Gaff. Ball ricochets down. Shane Edwards on the deck. Tried to get a hand pass away. Was met by Darling. Hand passing it forward. Broad mops up for the Tigers. Oh, hand passed it straight to Luke Edwards. Kicks high up in the air to full forward. Crashing into Kennedy. He goes to ground. So does Ryan. Hurried kick away from Graham. Did really well, the Tigers. Grimes marks at right half back. Kicks to the commentary wing. Nelson got in front of Riewoldt. Spoils the ball over the boundary line through the Eagles interchange gates. 15 minutes gone in the third turn, and it's still the Tigers by 11 points. 8-8 playing 7-3.
The crowd's into it. It's a good game. Richmond by 11 points. Nat Nui brings it down. Gaff loses it. Chol steals it. Richmond through Cochin come forward after receiving it from Chol. Spots Riewoldt. Tries to go quickly. I think he's kicked it straight into Barris's face. Might have been a Falcon. But he smothered that with his bonce. No, just a regulation smother on the mark from Barris. Out of play for a throw-in. At right half forward. Here for Richmond. Nat Nui works his way to the front. Goes to ground as he brings it down. Cochin gathers. Quick kick straight up and down. Fisted away there by Cole. Now the Eagles through Gaff. Back to Redden. Back to Gaff. Runs towards the wing for the Eagles. Kicks in the direction of Darling. Darling wrestling with Loston off his back. It bounces towards Kennedy. Kennedy at left half forward. Snaps it towards the hot spot. Trying to find Langdon. Spoiled by Baker. Gathered by Waterman. His snap goes to the pocket. Bouncing ball. Cripps is there. Slips over. Loston might have impeded him. Umpire says no. And Caddy gets it out of the D50 for Richmond.
Tigers look to bring it away down the outer side, but they'll slow things down. Arts marking the ball, left half back. Takes all the time allowed to him and then kicks high towards centre wing, outer side. Barris flew, so did Coleman Jones. Spilled down to Luke Edwards. Look, switch play dangerously. Wanted Ryan. McIntosh got in the way. Tapped it back to Grimes. He'll hand pass over the top on the Northern logo. Running back onto it, McIntosh. Sends it inside forward 50. Riewoldt waits. It bounces to him. He hands it off to Castagna. Steps around Rotherham. Snaps from the top of the goal square. Bangs it through. His first of the night. The Tigers had their ninth. 9-8-62. The Eagles 7-3-45. 18 gone in the third. The Tigers out to a game-high 17-point lead.
Captain McIntosh here generated that turnover and really strong in the contest against Liam Ryan, and then was able to join up through the handball and push that ball forward for Richmond.
Unselfish from Riewoldt too. Yeah. I would have put money on him having a shot at goal.
A little bit disorganised behind the ball too, a bit West Coast there. Riewoldt was all by himself.
Yeah. Be nice to see him put that through for $6.99, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I admit I'm cheering for the story, but I just would have normally assumed he's done the unselfish thing. because Castagna could run into the open goal and actually made it a bit tougher for himself.
Nat Nui spikes it out of the middle. Gaff tries to run onto it, knocks it forward. Jones gathers, gets a handball to Duggan, chips inside 50. Langdon on the lead. Baker going with him stride for stride. The two number 7s, and they see it out. A throw in 40 around from the Eagles goal. All of a sudden you feel like the Eagles need the next. They kicked the last two before half-time. Richmond have kicked the first two in this half. Going in, Broad picks it up, jams it on the boot, and floats to Rioli at half-back. Rioli sends it out towards the wing. Pickett accepts the mark. Dan has given you a suggestion, Clint, King of Edwards.
That's quite good. I like that.
As Pickett chips it over the top to Rioli. Richmond, slow and deliberate approach down the northern wing. Rioli short to Cochin.
There must be better ideas out there. Let us know. 0437 774 774.
Cochin runs on, goes inside 50. Tries to spot up a target in Castagna. Can't take the mark. Harry Edwards is taken in the tackle and earns a free kick. The Eagles quickly want to switch it towards the right back pocket.
Through Waterman to Langdon. Short beyond defensive 50. Hits Cole. Marks hard up against the boundary. What's your suggestion for a collective with Edwards? Kick inboard finds Nelson. Nelson for the Eagles. Holding the Sharon in his left hand as he assesses the option. Stabs it short to Langdon again. Still at right half back. Congestion on the southern wing. Langdon running that direction. And then kick to a pack at right half forward. Front position was Voston. Got up, got hands to it. Thought he might have been paid the mark. Spilled down to Baker. Kicked around the body. Bolton tries to drag it in. Does so. Between centre wing and left half forward. His kick, though, chopped off. Well done, Langdon. Knocked it to ground. Got away from Martin. Hands it to Cripps. Kicks the Eagles towards right half forward. Front position, Darling. Goes up. Couldn't mark. Comes to ground. Voston. Got a hand pass away to Broad at left half back. Moved it on to Martin. Tackled by Cripps. Oh, it's spun 360. They let it go. To Baker. To left half forward with the kick. Revolt couldn't mark. Spilled down in the direction of Redden for the Eagles. Then to Langdon. Now to Rotham. Back to Langdon. Just shy of centre wing. Southern side. Right up against the boundary.
Langdon kicks forward of the wing. Chol goes up. Comes down in front. Cripps trying to get a handball away. Tackle on Vlosten from Nat Nui. Ball spills out to Ryan for the Eagles. Kicks to the logo on the southern wings. Redden. Dodgy kick. Turns it over. Here come the Tigers through Arts. Handball to Bolton. Rewalt. 45 out. Snapping on goal. Bending. Not enough. Bounces through for a behind. Jack looks cross. 3 goals neat is the advantage to Richmond. 9-9 plays 7-3. Eagles quickly to the southern wing.
West Coast through Redden. Towards right half forward. Ryan got behind Broad. Grimes came the other way. It's good enough to see the football into his hands. Went short to Voston. Kicks the Tigers. Oh, missed his target, but it'll work out okay because Shane Edwards runs onto it. Not a great hand pass for Cochin. Was able to regather. Back to Graham. Tackled by Duggan. Got a hand pass out to Cochin though. Kicks down the outer side to Hawley. Takes a bounce, runs towards left half forward. Pops it inside forward 50. Harry Edwards spoils for the Eagles. Came to Nelson. Goes back to Rotham in the right back pocket. And he spots a player on his own. It's Luke Edwards who takes a bounce. Runs to centre wing, southern side. Kicks in the direction of Ryan. Up as Allen couldn't mark. Ryan at the back. Harassed by Grimes over the boundary line for a throw-in. 55 out from the Eagles' goal. They're kicking to the Farmer Freeway end in this term. To the right, or left rather, of our broadcast position. Tigers lead on the scoreboard. They're up by 18 points. 23 gone in the third.
Umpire brings it in. Chol knocks it to the front. Caddy gets a handball away. Shane Edwards tracking it. Gives away a free kick. Got into the back of Redden. So Redden to have it. Half forward for the Eagles. Goes towards the 50 and finds the chest of Nat Nui. Now this is beyond him. His kicks are usually like a 9-iron. So perhaps to the top of the goal square. Runs into trouble. Don't argue on Riewoldt. Has to snap around the corner. Fortuitously, it lands in the lap of Ryan. I'm not so sure it was by design as much as pure luck. But Ryan can go back. 30-degree angle, right-hand side. 25 out.
Got that, Jack.
Nice little set play there, isn't it? Run off the line. Don't argue.
Sat down, poor old Jack, as Ryan comes in, that casual approach. The drop punt is just what the doctor ordered for the Eagles. Back to 2 goals. Richmond lead 9-9-63. West Coast 8-3-51.
That gives him a little bit, maybe for the last quarter and a bit. He's had a quiet night, Ryan. Just probably been caught in between play a little bit. The game's gone so quick for him.
Yeah, playing that half-forward role, sometimes you get caught in between, don't you? But that's the second one tonight. It's fallen in his lap, a bit of a hurried kick out of a bit of pressure and congestion. So sometimes that's all you need to get yourself going. And we know that he's such a dynamic player. He doesn't need many goes at it.
Man who is having a quiet night as well is Jack Darling, who all of a sudden, he's only had 7 possessions. He's not a high possession player, but hasn't had a shot on goal and has only kicked 2 goals, 1 in each of the last 2 weeks, and those were his only shots on goal. So
yeah, Vlosten's been unbelievable tonight on him.
Natanui tapped it down. Yo tried to soccer it forward, missed it. Bounced its way towards Bolton of the Tigers. Kicked it inside 450. Barris went up. Oh, he's crashed into Harry Edwards. Hurt him too. Both Eagles desperate for the football. He's up and he's okay, I think, Harry Edwards. A little bit sore as Barris kicks to the northern wing. Darling was there. Got a fist on the footy, saw it over the line for a throw-in. Good push and shove between Darling and Boston here. They're really going at each other. Boston pulls Darling forward. Now Shane Edwards gets involved and Pickett. They've finally broken up. Darling goes back to Boston again, who grabs him and pulls him forward. Waterman will get involved from the side. Basher Hooley tries to calm everything down. Bolter there, unsurprisingly, Liam Baker. He wants to get involved as well. Yo's decided to come in for the Eagles side of things to calm things down, and Nick Natanui goes through, just gives a little pat to Basher Hooley and then tells his teammates, let's calm down. But certainly a bit of feeling in this game between these two behemoths of football clubs. The Tigers will lead at three-quarter time, 9-9-63 to the Eagles, 8-3-51.
So the goal kickers through the opening 3 terms of this match. Josh Kennedy for the Eagles with a couple. Singles to Cripps, Jones, Oscar Allen, Liam Ryan, Nick Natanui and also Jake Waterman. While for Richmond, Jack Riewoldt with 2, Coleman Jones with 2, singles to Arts, Lambert, Martin, Castagna and Graham. A 2-goal advantage for the Tigers as we turn for home on this Grandstand AFL.
ABC Sport on Social is your sports conversation on the go. Video, player insight and analysis. This is the content you never knew you needed. Get ABC Sport wherever you scroll. When history is made.
It's all over. India have won. India have won magnificently.
ABC Sport is there.
He's over the halfway line. Vancouver coming. Game, set, bingo. Premiership.
Commercial free.
The Tigers are still the best team in the land. 3 flags in 4 years for Richmond.
ABC Sport. On radio, online and on the ABC Listen app.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Edwards onto Bolton inside 50. Riewoldt doesn't complete it. Rioli roves. Handball to McIntosh. Chips to the pocket. Coleman Jones waits and marks. Coleman Jones snaps on goal and bends it through beautifully. Richmond out by 11. Coleman Jones has got a couple.
Running back onto it, McIntosh. Sends it inside forward 50. Riewoldt waits. It bounces to him. He hands it off to Castagna. Steps around Rothen. Snaps from the top of the goal square. Bangs it through. His first of the night. The Tigers have their 9th.
Nat Nui runs into trouble. Don't argue on Riewoldt. Has to snap around the corner. Fortuitously, it lands in the lap of Ryan. Ryan can go back. 30-degree angle, right-hand side. 25 out. Ryan comes in, that casual approach. The drop punt is just what the doctor ordered for the Eagles.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
It's a 2-goal lead for Richmond, 9-9-63 over the West Coast Eagles, 8-3-51. Clint Wilden, myself, Ben Cameron in commentary. Our experts, the Fremantle 300 gamer David Mundy and Shane Woden, the Brownlow medalist, are in with all of the insights. Gents, what have you made of it and what can we expect in the fourth?
It's a turnover game for Richmond, and we're just talking about it then, a stoppage game for West Coast too. So Richmond will be able to score 4 goals from both their back half and front half, and you could just see in that third quarter still trying to make the ground big, Richmond, weren't they, and trying to get their backs into play and build their game up and then try to be able to get through the middle again and then go from there. But occasionally did it well enough and then occasionally got stopped, which West Coast were able to do. But you could just see pulling the back into that quarter that just felt like they were just about to break the game open, Richmond, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the first half of that third quarter was a real arm wrestle between the sides. And I was on the back of West Coast being able to hold up that ball movement, which we've seen from Richmond for the first half. And then the second half of that third quarter is when the game opened up a little bit and Richmond looking really dangerous, moving the ball forward.
Yeah, just thought Richmond be able to get out and break their perimeter and get on the outside. Their half backs and their wings hold their width anyway. But if you just see once the ball crossed half back, they're able to get out on the outside and just get probably cleaner and deeper entries going forward.
Some of the SMSs rolling through on 0437 774 774. David Mundy's been a bit of a feature. Martin's in Bondi, and he says there's an army base nearby to Seymour, or go right at the Goulburn Valley Highway. There's a great town called, David, I might need your insight here, Y-E-A.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, it's interesting spelling. Puckapunyal is the army base outside of Seymour.
It is Puckapunyal.
Yeah. But,
that's what Kevin Sheedy went to Puckapunyal to do his military service. I've heard him speak about that. So that is Puckapunyal.
Yeah, just outside of Seymour, 10 minutes outside. So beautiful part of the world.
Education process for me today. Tiger in Bendigo says, still have bad memories of your kick after the siren, Dave Mundy, but well done on a good career so far. And then we've got the collection of Edwards, a King of Edwards from Dan, a Parliament of Edwards from Rosh in Wembley, a Witten of Edwards from Shane in Upway, Victoria with no power. Hope you're faring okay, Shane. A collection of Teddies from Madge in Freo, and a collection of Edwards Edwardians from Tony J. Unclear if that's Tony Jones or not, but appreciate the text.
Steve Allen had one for us. I'll go to him just a second. Kane Lambert's had it 24 times, Ben. Basher Hooley 23, Short 20, Broad 19 and Bolton 18 for the Tigers. Redden's had it 28 times. He leads all comers and his Eagles teammate. Sheed with 22, Foley with 20. Overall disposals, Richmond 311 to the Eagles 272. The inside 50s to Richmond 39 to 33. The marks to Richmond by 5. Contested possessions to Richmond by 8. In terms of free kicks, the Eagles have had 8 to 7. What were you saying before, Steve Allen downstairs?
I like a ward of Edwards. And thankfully, none of them have needed the hospital ward. Full bill of health down here.
As we're underway in the final term, and Natanui gets the clearance for the Eagles, kicking towards right half forward. It bounces off the shins of Boston. He'll chase it to the boundary line. He's able to keep it in just. And then Broad, well, either way, it was going to be a boundary throw-in. I felt Broad actually took it over the line, had no chance of stopping. Throwing it right half forward for West Coast, about 55 from their attacking goal, kicking to the city end in this quarter. Boundary umpire unfurls. Natanui looks to punch it up into the air. Sheed went after it. Cochin gathered, threw it on the boot immediately. Kicked up in this air, just far enough to be a mark, and Hearn takes the mark. He'll wheel around onto his right. Into the right forward pocket. Kennedy! He's done well. And he's taken the mark in the right forward pocket, about 35 from goal and about 7 in from the boundary.
Great kick. Again, just doing his work early on Bolter. Got to get some separation, and just a perfectly weighted kick into the gap.
He will look to snap it around the body with the left. It's a wonderful kick and a much-needed goal for West Coast. Just the way they wanted to start this final term. He's got his third. Josh Kennedy, as he should, goes to celebrate with his teammates. He's cut Richmond's lead to just a goal. 9-9-63 the Tigers, 9-3-57 West Coast. 1 minute and 37 seconds into the final term.
Yeah, absolutely top shelf kick from Shannon Hearn there. As we said, Josh Kennedy doing a lot of work off the ball to get himself that space and that separation from a really athletically blessed Noah Bolter, and Shannon Hearn just drops it on the plate for him.
Noah doesn't do any real physical work on Kennedy enough early, and sort of just sits in space a bit rather than being physical on Kennedy, where Kennedy wants to continually move. You actually got to check him and work him over.
I spoke about McFarlane about playing on Kennedy earlier, and that's exactly what he said. You have to apply body. As Martin gets the clearance for Richmond, Lambert dragged down in a tackle, caught holding the ball. Shannon Hearn, the former skipper, applying the tackle. Eagles with it at halfback. Hearn punches it low out towards Jones, who marks. Over the top of short. So Jones for the Eagles, about 80 from home. He kicks into the pocket. It'll be close to the boundary line. Allen comes in and takes the mark. Darling had a big run and jump. He didn't get near it, but Allen was there for the Eagles. Marks 30 metres out, 5 metres in from the boundary line in the left forward pocket. He's got vice-like hands. He's going to snap it home. Arcs out. Looks a little narrow. It is. They're behind, so under a goal now. 5 points. Richmond's advantage as Hooley brings it in quickly.
Hooley to the left back pocket. To short. Now to Broad. Kicks back inboard. Finds Grimes. Grimes short again to Broad. It's between fullback and centre half back in the corridor. Glances out to the right. We'll get told to move it on now. Surely does. The short once more. And the Eagles doing well. They've covered everyone in the Tigers at the moment. So he's forced to kick long to a pack. Left half back. Good mark though. Jones in front of Harry Edwards. Strong grab. So from left half back, Coleman Jones kicks towards the centre square. Marked there by Arts. He'll pop it short. Cochin had to dive to his right. Couldn't mark it. Was set a big task anyway. Rotherham was able to pick it up. Went back to Harry Edwards. Then to Shannon Hearn. Kicked down the line. Diving out. Hooley. Couldn't trap it. Was able to stop it. Getting its way towards Yo. And sees it over for neutral ball. Right beneath our broadcast position on the northern wing.
Flipsman's catch there from Cochin, wasn't it?
Yes.
His elbows hit the deck, the ball bobbled out.
And he was given a real task to get to it, tried his almighty best. The Tigers by 5 points.
Speaking of cricket, the score in a moment as Chol knocks it out towards McIntosh. Now Redden picks it up for the Eagles, gives it to Edwards, kicks towards half forward. And then gathering it, Bolter. He kicks back towards the wing for Richmond. The Eagles get it through Redden, Edwards, Yo. Jones close to the boundary line. He paddles it out. We'll get a throw in or free kick. It'll come back to Yo. So Yo to have it on the wing for the Eagles. Kicks inside 50. Kennedy tries to rise. Spoilt by Chol. Comes out towards Ryan. Looking to centre it. Can't quite find its target. Good spoil Castagna. There to mop up Foley. Snaps around the corner. And Grimes is able to mark in the back pocket. Richmond by 5 points, 5 played in the fourth.
Surprised Ryan didn't have a go himself. As Grimes beyond defensive 50. It's at right half back. No mark taken. Barras picked it up off the deck for the Eagles. Gave it to Sheed. Hand pass to Cripps. Puts it back towards left, full forward. Grimes backing back. Eagles thought they were being impeded. Kennedy was the player who went to ground. Ball's off hands and over for a boundary throw-in. Hard up against the left hand behind post. Was it Bolts? Yes, it was. Was he holding Kennedy? I wouldn't have thought so. Right decision, I reckon, to play on. Chol wins it down. Comes there to Caddy. Kick beyond defensive 50 and he spots Castagna. And he marks right up against the boundary for the Tigers at right half back. Still Richmond lead by 5.6 gone in the fourth.
Castagna to a contest on the wing in front. Hearn drops it. Rewalt Rose sweeps a handball forward. Getting back Foley. Pressured by Martin. Knocking it on Bolton. Can't quite gather. Eventually does. On to Martin. 30 out. Dribbles it home. Oh, Dusty. That's a double delight. Bolton to Martin. You know the rest. He's got 2. Richmond out by 11 points. 10-9-69. West Coast 9-4-58. 7 minutes gone in the fourth. David Bundy, Shane Woden.
This contest, wasn't it? Get through it. The flick on. Typical style.
You could argue he's been a little bit quiet tonight. Yeah. He hasn't really impacted the game a whole lot, but he doesn't need many chances, does he?
He was never missing that once he got it, was he?
And they just swarm.
The initial pressure from Dusty, and he ends up on the end of it. That was on the wing he applied the pressure and ends up 30 out, dribbling it home.
Well, the confidence to dribble it in the dewy conditions, it's just next level, isn't it?
There's a girl in the crowd with an Eagles scarf on and a sign that says, "Dusty, will you marry me?"
Chol won it down for Richmond. Gathered a second time. Umpires spotted a free kick. It was the non-controlling umpire.
It's against Jack Redden.
It's gone the way of Shane Edwards for the Tigers. To Bolton. Hand passes through the corridor to Arts. Moves it on to Lambert. Lambert goes long, looking for his seconds. I reckon he's kicked it. Player on the line. Definitely a goal. Lambert with 2. And the Tigers go bang, bang. And in the space of about 60 seconds, they've opened up a 17-point lead now on West Coast. 11-9-75 to the Eagles, 9-4-58. We've gone 8.5 minutes in the final term on Grandstand AFL.
I think it was an initial hold by Jack Redden at the centre bounce, which gave away the free kick.
But again, Richmond are challenged in the game. Yeah. The scoreboard's getting tight again and they just flex a bit. Kick a couple of quick ones and space to the game again.
Do it better than anybody else, Richmond. Speak about the fact they stick to the process, and we know their work with mental skills coach Emma Murray and her success. In the middle, Nat Nui down to Yo. He's tackled. Chol drags him to ground. Free kick. Yo stands up, bursts out of there, tries with the spiral. Bit of a mongrel. Allen attacks the footy. Cripps gets it in front. Gives it back to Allen. His kick goes straight up and down. Fisted away by Baker. Coming through Bolton clean again. Handball out to Pickett. He's taken high anyway, Bolton. So Bolton will get the free kick. At left half back, Richmond leading by 17 points. Bolton wheels and kicks to the wing. Barris strong for the Eagles. Marks on this northern wing.
Kicks into the middle of the ground. He finds Luke Edwards. Now to Gaff. Just pops it short but precise to Redden. Lost his footing on the ground. Handed off to Gaff. Spears it into Langdon. Hit him on the chest. He marks inside forward 50. It's a little bit to the left of centre. He'll be kicking from right on 50.
One of the few times Richmond haven't closed from the open side there, so West Coast switching the ball there, and I think it was Caddy had the opportunity to come and press when Gaff got the ball, but elected to try and guard some space more forward of the ball and allowed an easy hit up inside 450.
He's kicking it 500 for the season, 4 goals, 4. From just inside 50, he's got underneath it. It won't have the carry. Kennedy came, tried to get a fist to the footy. Spilled down to Allen, tackled immediately by Pickett. Was it into his back? Yes.
Not sure about that.
The official immediately calling it. I'd like to have another look. Is the question here. Pickett's got him. Turned him.
It's a perfect tackle.
And I reckon that is very harsh. Just watching it in the replay,
he reckons a dangerous tackle.
Maybe it's because his head's made contact with the ground, but even then, he hasn't driven him. It's the momentum that's carried him. And he's tried to turn him as well, so he didn't go into his back, which we're able to spot a lot better in replay than live. But, yeah, I reckon that might be a bit harsh on him.
You reckon that's how he officiated it? Dangerous rather than pushing the back?
Even then, I don't think it was.
Still reckon it's tough. Oscar Allen, he's been given an opportunity, though, and he shanked it, slicing it to the right.
Kicked across that one.
9-5-59 to Richmond 11-9-75. Justice, Richmond fans around the country say.
Richmond chipping it short in the cricket. New Zealand and England. New Zealand have beaten England by 8 wickets to win the series 1-0. As Richmond try and switch it to the southern wing. Good pressure from Langdon. Brings it down to ground level. Bolter gets a handball away, close to the boundary line. Hooley's there, though, and the umpire says spin it in.
The noise.
The umpire refusing to buy into the noise of affirmation. 16 points, Richmond's advantage. Throw in on the wing. Allen knocks it back to the boundary. Shane Edwards tracks it as his arms out in appeal. That cricket result, a first home series defeat for England since 2014 and a first for Joe Root as captain. Kiwis had 6 out as well. They'll play the Test Championship final against India starting Friday.
All spun back in. One down by Allen. Trying to get to it was Luke Edwards. Might have been held without it. He was. He'll have the ball on the logo. Southern wing. Kicks West Coast short. Oh, he's missed his target in Gaff. Worked out okay. Behind him, Rashid. Tackled immediately by Arts. He's got him. Incorrect disposal. Arts will have the free kick for the Tigers. Tront's back inside his defensive 50. He's in the right back pocket. Richmond still lead by 16.
So he'll send it long towards the logo. Harry Edwards drops the mark, recovers on the bounce. Handball there to his namesake in Edwards, and the Eagles quickly towards half forward. Here's Allen going inside 50. Trying to pinpoint Kennedy. Broad spoils. Out of play. We'll get a throw in. Right at left half forward for the Eagles. They'd want to go fairly soon. Down by 16, 11-9-75. Richmond leading West Coast 9-5-59. Allen in the ruck. Swats it straight down to Redden off his head. It goes to Gaff. Dribbles it inside 50. Jones picks it up. Gives it to Allen. Runs into trouble. You're holding it. Court holding the ball. And Richmond win it back. Through Graham. 40 out from their defensive goal.
Graham sends the kick to the southern wing. Harry Edwards at the back, won it down, straight to Pickett, tackled by Harry Edwards, but he got it forward to Coleman Jones. Now Castagna hands it off to Graham, racing by, pops the hand pass to Bolton, runs the 50 out, kicks towards goal. A ripping finish. He's been a little bit quiet by his standards tonight, but a great goal in the final term, and it pushes Richmond's lead out to 22 points. 14 and a bit minutes gone. The Tigers at 12-9-81 to the Eagles 9-5-59.
What about Jack Graham's work rate? He's the one that kicked it from D50, and he's the one that handballs it to Bolton inside 50. So, great work rate to be able to get on the end of that chain.
Yeah, it's how they play, isn't it? They send a couple of forwards up to a stoppage, and then if they win it, then they release really hard forward. That over-the-hill burst play.
So out by 22 now, and you would think potentially they're home 15 minutes into the fourth term, Richmond. Bit of work down on the Eagles bench as well. We'll get down to Steve Allen when we can. Nat Nui and Chol. Nat Nui swats it down. Yo hacks it on the bounce. Inside attacking 50. Bouncing ball. Coming out Grimes. We almost threw it away towards Baker. Ryan gets it. It was a throw, in fact, I think. It's going to come back. And a free kick for the West Coast Eagles. So Waterman will have it. The mark set 45 out. It's a 45-degree angle, and Waterman says, I'll kick for goal. Goalless last week, Jake Waterman. Been good for a goal a game this year. It was a late inclusion to really keep the game alive for the West Coast Eagles. Boot the ball from outside the arc. Starts it right, brings it back, just sneaks it home. Good kick, Jake Waterman. There's a pulse for the Eagles, 16 points. 10-5-65, plays 12-9-81. 10 minutes played in the fourth term on Grandstand AFL.
So they flushed that.
Kicked it well, didn't he? We mentioned in the pre-game that with Naitanui in the ruck, West Coast feel like they're only 10 seconds away from a goal at a centre square bounce, and that last centre square bounce was able to tap the ball offhand, so away from where his momentum's going, and Yo surged it from there and able to pressure the Richmond defenders enough to get an opportunity.
He's a good set shot, Jake Waterman. I think he's kicked something like 8-1 from set shots this year.
Yeah, he flushed that one, didn't he?
Grimes a bit disappointed in the decision. Felt he'd handball the ball.
Eagles fans, they raise their voice to the occasion. Naitanui wins it down. It comes to Yo. Knocked away from his grasp by Koch and spilled to Gaff, though. Now to Luke Edwards, back to Gaff. Hand pass missed its target. Nelson gathered. Great tackle, Bolton. Wrapped him up. That's holding the ball. Just took a second too long, Nelson. And Bolton really has burst to life in these last few seconds. Comes now to Martin. From the centre circles, a thumping kick inside forward 50. Shannon Hearn stands underneath it. Players were coming towards him. He stood there and took the mark. And he moves it short to Sheed, who plays on in turn by hand to Hearn from the left back pocket.
Hearn kicks in the Darling direction on the wing. Can't mark. Broad there with him. Picking it up, though, for the Eagles, Luke Edwards. Out to Naitanui. He's got 4 Tigers around him. Fights with Broad. Knocks it out to Edwards. Then on to Yo, who floats it inside 50. Bouncing ball. Grimes gets a boot to it. Kennedy's handball errant. Cooley's there. Ryan applying the pressure, but Baker cool. He'll chip it back to fullback. And he finds Short at the top of his defensive goal square for the Tigers. He kicks to Baker, who's run on and marks in the opposite pocket. So 16 points, Richmond's lead.
Oh, Baker's kick down the line. Stayed in. Short got a touch on it and spills over the boundary line. It'll be a throw in at right half forward for the West Coast Eagles. Still time for those in blue and gold. Tigers certainly like being in front, though. Naitanui won it down straight to Pickett. Gets a kick away for the Tigers. Down the commentary wing, and Mark able to mark on his chest. Tigers had a 2-on-1. They stream forward. Martin senses the opportunity. Will kick inside the forward 50. Ball bounces away from Rioli. Hearn was there. Hand pass wasn't great, but it allows a teammate in Duggan to run onto it. Gave it again to Langdon. His hand pass turned over. Rioli had it to McIntosh. Now to Baker. Chips it short. Shane Edwards marks. Just far enough to be a mark. Now steps off his line. Kicks inside forward 50. Ball bounces its way on towards Graham. Goes back by hand to Martin. Martin sells some candy. Oh, got tackled. Breaks free. Kicks around the body. Didn't get the purchase on it this time. Langdon standing in front of his defensive goal square. An important mark for West Coast. He'll start up again. They trail by 16. 20 minutes gone in the last.
So Langdon runs to the pocket. Kicks as long as he can towards Kennedy and Darling. Darling takes the mark. Knocked out of his hands, 50. And they'll be marched down this northern wing. Darling's got men in the middle. Bites off the kick on the 45. Just finds its way to Luke Edwards. Gives it off to Kennedy. Men inside 50. Can he get it to Cripps? He does. Cripps marks. 40 out, 45-degree angle. And this would make it very interesting. Adam Simpson applauding and fist pumping in the box. He was directing Kennedy where he wanted it to go. Cripps comes in, a big moment. Cripps delivers. He's up to the occasion. 2 for him. 10 points the margin. The game's live. It's 21 minutes into the fourth.
Well, Dusty had to have a shot the first time. He'd sail that from 50.
JK, the handball received master through the midfield tonight. It's his second one, setting them up.
And a little bit of shimmy.
He's doing it all, the old man. But I reckon Damien Hardwick, we want to get Vlastuin back on. I think Darling's been targeted a couple of long down the lines in the last couple of minutes while he's been off and affected those contests. So here he comes now.
As you called it, David Mundy, Ralston runs onto the ground. 10 points the margin. Tigers are out to a 22-point advantage after Bolton's goal. The Eagles have dragged themselves up off the canvas. They're still in this contest. Natanui palms it down to Yeo straight away. Pops at the gap. His kick got touched on the way through. Pickett taps it to his own advantage. Gathers it on the wing. Tried to step inside Redden straight into a tackle. Wrapped up by one of the youngsters, Luke Edwards. The 19-year-old got him and he gets the free kick.
Been handy tonight, been really clean.
Showed some genuine promise last week against the Blues. Has stepped it up tonight. Kick to right half forward. Yo, front position of a pack of 6. Marks for the Eagles at right half forward. He puts it towards right full forward. Allen sets himself. Ryan came from the side. Kicking it away. That's Baker. Baker's been pinned for deliberate. Anywhere would do, he thought. Umpires saying not enough intense. He looked to just slap it out of there as he fell forward there, Baker. Straight over the boundary line. Liam Ryan has it hard up against the boundary. In fact, it's hard up against the fence. He'll start his way towards the boundary from the right forward pocket. It's across the face. Choles up, punching it through. A minor score. Into single digits, the margin. Richmond's lead 9 points. 24 gone in the last. 12-9, plays 11-6.
So Vlastuin with the kick in, stabs it short to Hooley. Always a cool head. Asher Hooley. He's called to go. Goes for the safety of sending it long to the wing. Barras in good position. Barras marks. Now he looks back inside 50. Darling's waving it down. He heads in that direction. Natanui in from the side. He marks 25 out on a 45-degree angle.
He's been good today. Natanui, been very good. 20th disposal.
He kicked their first goal of the night. This might be one of their most important. He stabs it right and misses. Oh, they needed that, but they're coming. 8 points is the margin. 24 minutes into the fourth.
Eagles found it City and almost willing that home, and Boston has turned it over. Kicking straight to Luke Edwards at right half forward for the Eagles, and he finds Allen who marks. And the Eagles fans are up because they thought that he was infringed after taking the mark and he should have been given 50. Allen, though, marking 25 out, 45-degree angle to the right. Would have been against Baker again. Those in the light green erring on the side of empathy with the Tigers. Oscar Allen. Normally a reliable kick. From 30 out. The Roar will tell you the story. He puts it through for his second. And the Eagles are back to within 2 points. What a game of footy on Grandstand AFL. This has been a beauty.
Richmond 12-9-81. The Eagles 12-7-79. 25 gone. Go nowhere for the next 5 minutes or so.
A great response, hasn't it? We probably thought 10 minutes ago Richmond landed a punch. They were running away with it, but West Coast, to their credit, have kept raising the fight. Again, just composed again by Edwards. He's been terrific.
You said it before, he's been outstanding. Could have been a father-son to the Crows. Tyson, 300-gamer, dual premiership player. It looks like a bit of an oversight right now, doesn't it? But all focus is right here. Naitanui goes up high. Tap not to advantage. Cochin on his backside trying to get a kick away. Ball jars out in a tackle. Gaff can't get it out. Wrapped up by Chol. We'll do it again in the middle. This is wonderful. Only a Sunday night. Naitanui down to Lambert. He loses it. Getting involved again, Edwards. Gives it off to Yo. There's a free kick. So it'll come back. Yo will get the free kick. Lambert called for the throw. So Yo to get it in the middle of Perth Stadium. Richmond by 2 points. Yo drives it low. Inside 50, looking for Cripps. Over the back it goes. Allen picks it up in the pocket. Gives it off to Cripps. Handball to Duggan. He knocks it on. And into the pocket and over the boundary line it goes. Forward 50 stoppage for the Eagles. 50,834 in attendance. And the majority of them rise for this forward 50 stoppage.
The crowd, the contest deserved. Naitanui palmed it down. Cripps, was he taken without the football? Umpires say no. Play on. Kick the on-defensive 50 by the Tigers. Turned over. Marked by Redden. Lambert's kick under pressure. Redden at right half forward. Puts it back towards right full forward. Great mark. Up in front position, Pickett. That's a stunning grab. Needed to be made. The Tiger gets it. Dangerous kick though towards right half back. Bolter. He's able to see it over the boundary line. He'll get a free kick being infringed. It's against Kennedy. The Tigers will have it in the right back pocket. 28 and a bit minutes gone. They still lead by 2, Richmond, over the Eagles.
So Bolter goes short. Backwards to Jaden Short. In the right back pocket. Called to play on. He kicks long to the wing. Over the top of Barris it goes. Rewalt drops it. Allen goes in for the Eagles. Wrapped up by Martin. Ball not coming out. Umpire will want to ball it up. 2 points the advantage. 28 minutes, 38 seconds. Can Richmond hold on? Can West Coast find a winning goal? Naitanui contests it with Chol. Yo jams it on the boot. Out on the full. So Richmond to get back possession. Both of the board men on the bench have got their signs up. I presume
3 minutes.
So Short with the free kick. He'll send it as long as he can towards the contest. Barris in front. Makes a strong mark for the Eagles.
Tommy Barris towards left half forward. He wanted Darling. Brought it down with one arm. Coming in Cochin. Did well gathered. Spun over the top of Jones. And then was tackled. Great tackle coming the other way from Yo. What an addition again he's been for the West Coast side since returning from injury. Naitanui palmed it down beautifully out to Gaff. On the outer side he was. Gathered. Kicks into the left forward pocket. Going back, Baker couldn't mark. It's spilled down to a teammate in Grimes. He's tackled straight away. Free kick's been paid to Grimes.
Is he taken high by Allen?
Indeed, it's coming back to Bolter who's taking the free kick. Across the face. Finds Short, who juggles it, is able to drag it in. And then Short will switch play again. I'm not afraid to go across the face of goals here, and Bolter marks once more for the Tigers.
So Bolter will go for a little run. Kicks towards the wing. Marking contest again. Martin somehow marks it. Runs away with it. Dusty takes 2 bounces. And he stops. Gets it on the boot. Bounces it to Castagna. Castagna runs an arc. On the left from 48. It won't have the legs. Hearns back there. He marks for the Eagles in the defensive goal square. and goes short to the pocket, and Barris past the 30-minute mark. 2 points Richmond's advantage.
Barris short to Harry Edwards, who marks and plays on. He finds Yo. Uncontested mark on the southern wing. Kicks looking for Ryan against Broad. Ryan working out from under it. Gathers, runs inside forward 50. Kick shot. Kennedy! Kennedy diving down low. He's marked it just above the grass in the left forward pocket. And he'll go back and shoot to put the Eagles in front. He'll be snapping around the body from 40 outs.
Harry Edwards not phased.
Kennedy's kick's on its way. It looks good. Blue and gold rises one around Perth Stadium. Their greatest ever goal kicker has given them the lead with less than a minute to play. He's got 4. And West Coast are in front by as many points. 13-7-85. Richmond 12-9-81. Wherever you are, don't get out of the car. Cross your legs. Don't make a cup of tea. We've got another minute of sensational footy. Here on Grandstand AFL, David Mundy and Shane Woden.
Have been absolutely dominating the game for the last few minutes. West Coast really pinning Richmond in, and almost the result of Richmond's last break forward is they had no structure forward of the ball. They were all up trying to get the ball out of their defensive half, and West Coast certainly looking like the better side.
18-7 inside 50s this quarter. They've dominated. It's been huge, Kennedy.
The Eagles have kicked the last 4 goals. Can Richmond roll the dice out of the middle? Nat Nui-Yo kicks to half forward. Richmond are there. Broad coming through. Jones knocks it out. Tracking after it. Grimes. He wins the footy. Goes up the middle. They know there's not long left. Scholl gets it onto Vlosten. Through the middle go Richmond. Vlosten to Riewoldt. Drops the mark at 50. Handball to Martin. Attacking edge of the square. Kicks long. Bolton's in the goal square. Hearn's there. Hearn marks. The West Coast Eagles win a thriller. An absolute humdinger. They kicked the last 4 goals. Kennedy the winner. And they win by 4 points over Richmond. 13-7-85 to 12-9-81.
Nation, our colours share the West Coast sky. Our will to win will never die. We're the Eagles, the West Coast Eagles. And we're here to show you why. We're the big birds, kids of the big game. We're the Eagles, we're flying high. We stick together through thick and thin. We grow as champions from within. Our club knows it's more than winning. It's West Coast magic and it's just beginning. Eagles, the West Coast Eagles, and we're here to show you why. We're the big birds, kings of the big game. We're the Eagles, we're flying high. We're the Eagles, we're flying high.
So Richmond, they were out by 22 points at the quarter-hour mark of the final term when Shea Bolton put them in front. The West Coast Eagles kicked the next 4. Waterman, Cripps, Allen, and then Kennedy. 35 out on the snap from the pocket. As Clint put it beautifully, their greatest ever goal kicker delivered when they needed one from him. And he kicked 4 from the night. And the Eagles win by that many points. 13-7-85 plays 12-9-81. How can you boys put that into words?
That's a fair game of footy. They should have iced that, Richmond. that's one they've let go, no doubt. But full credit to West Coast. They just changed gears again and responded really well. Ran the contest, win clearance, which I thought was big in that last 10 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. West Coast in that last quarter went to holding their 6 forwards ahead of the ball as well, which really enabled them to put pressure the Richmond backs. We've seen in the first 3 quarters they were able to deflect that pressure and kick the ball around a little bit more. So by holding their 6 forwards ahead of the ball, they were able to capitalise on their superior stoppage work, and particularly out of the centre square bounce. It felt like the numbers mightn't show up, but it felt like they were really dominant and generated really great field position from that, especially in that last quarter.
Absolutely.
That's a crazy night at the footy. I mean, it's really cool. We saw for the first time last week the split crowd for the Dreamtime game, but when one of the WA teams are coming and the crowd is rabid, it's strange, isn't it? And they were deafening down the stretch, the Eagles fans, as they came. It's a crazy, crazy night at the footy.
Worth remembering that Richmond led, and as you mentioned, by 22 points late, but they led since the 12th minute of the second term until the last 40, 50 seconds or so. So they've had the lead the whole time. I thought Bolton's goal would just about do it. I couldn't see West Coast, who this season have not been a great finishing team, been able to find a way to drag themselves back into it. That is a tremendous win by West Coast.
Yeah, I thought contests in front of the footy were critical, where I thought Richmond were probably dominating that part of the game.
Dare I say it?
Earlier?
3 flights in a short period of time. Did it count towards the end?
I was going to bring that up. It looked like Richmond were out of their feet a little bit. We saw their last big foray forward. They couldn't get numbers ahead of the ball, which is very un-Richmond-like. So I think certainly it would have taken a physical toll. I doubt anyone from the Richmond organisation will put their hand up and say that was the reason, but it has to play some part.
Fascinating. When they had the option to stay here in Perth, they elected to go back to Sydney so they could live normally.
They don't try to take heat out of the game either, did they? Really? Richmond, late, when they probably had the chance just to maybe for 5 minutes just take the sting out of it, really control the tempo and the ball. It's not them, we know, but I think sometimes you've got to be able to do it. One, to hold your gas and be able to have it for the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, I think that's what West Coast did really well. Their forwards were able to really press and stop those short kicks that, Vlosten and Short and Hooley were getting in those first 3 quarters, and force them to a contest early and
win the ball back.
Yeah, Barras really took over in the air behind the ball, and the West Coast forwards looked really potent when they were moving the ball forward.
Josh Kennedy has kicked a lot of goals for the West Coast Eagles, but by gee, I mean, the kind of thing, the intangible that doesn't show up in the stats and the raw numbers is how often he's kicked big goals for the West Coast Eagles when they need them, and he did that again tonight. Yeah, he felt like he was going to kick it, and he went back and he did.
Yeah, he was influential on the game tonight. The tools did, I thought, throughout the whole game. And, Barras, as Dave said, Barras back end, just intercept marks. Kennedy in the front half.
And how well he and Hearn worked together. When the ball was coming in deep, you could actually see on 2 occasions, Barras said, "That's yours, I'm staying here, you look after that." But they combined together so well. So when it was put deep, the Eagles would have had so much faith in those two. We know how much experience they've had, premiership players. One's a premiership captain, but straight away, everybody knew what their role was.
Absolutely, and Shannon Hearn's great strength is that he just puts himself in the right spot and he's able to coordinate his other backs around him, so he did that really well. But yeah, Barras, I thought, especially those really high balls, was able to get a free run and jump at it, and we know that's an absolute strength of his. He feels like he's 12 foot tall when he jumps and puts his arms in the air, so he did that really well.
He's a big man. I've flown back after covering Eagles games with them on the plane. You can't really get past him when he's in the aisle. Like, he is a man mountain. Tom Barras will head down into the rooms right now for the Eagles fans who wish to hear it. Steve Allen is downstairs in the room. What's the vibe, Steve, as the Eagles head in?
It's a small crowd here to welcome the boys into the rooms. Nick Nat's let them in. They're just circling up now, going for the Powerades. I don't have my glasses on, but I think it's Powerades nowadays. The green and blue. But here they go for the song.
Bit of gusto in that from the Eagles. Will be back down into the rooms a little later on to catch up with one of the Eagles. Should mention as well, Josh Kennedy from Sir Swamp Thing on Twitter again. Most VFL AFL goals kicked outside of Victoria with his third goal. He went to 510 and went past Matthew Pavlich on 509.
That's a great stat.
I do think that the early VFL players were slightly disadvantaged. They didn't get a lot of chances to kick goals outside of Victoria, unfortunately. But well done to Josh Kennedy on that unique snap for the West Coast Eagles. Does leave Richmond slightly precariously placed, dare I say it. I'm a believer that the 8 is set and the 8 will be what it is at the moment. But David Mundy...
No, it's not, Ben. We're coming.
You might have different ideas because Fremantle are ninth.
Sitting ninth.
On 24 points, and Richmond are only 1 win ahead. If GWS had won today as well, they would have been on 24 points too, and there would have been a bit more pressure coming from underneath for Richmond. But, yeah, just precariously placed, as I said, the reigning premiers, the 2-time reigning champs.
Yeah, these boys back half of the year, they're going to steam home.
Well, the pressure will come as well because, and, you know, without putting the cart before the horse, Fremantle have a tough run at the back end, but Collingwood, Carlton and Hawthorn to come after the bye for Fremantle, I mean, they're winnable games. Won't make you comment on that, David. It's a bit prickly for you, but we spoke about it.
They certainly are, absolutely. I think Hawthorn, you say, was in Tassie. Yeah, so...
Yeah, that's a bit tougher, but...
Yeah.
I mean, Hawthorn
they were good the other
well,
night.
but...
No, but they were good the other night, I thought, Hawthorn. But they're certainly winnable games, no doubt. Yeah.
And then if you look at Richmond, they've got St Kilda, Gold Coast and Collingwood, so they'll probably, you would think, go on a bit of a run as well and be able to solidify their place in the 8, but you just never know in the AFL these days, and any given Sunday is what they've wanted and what they've got. But, yeah, just sitting at the bottom part of the 8, and what we do know is that it's really difficult to win the flag from outside the top 4. I mean, maybe not quite as hard for Richmond because they're a Melbourne club, and if they get finals in Melbourne, they don't have to travel, but it does make it a lot more difficult.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that history shows that to win it from outside the 4 is very, very tough. Doggies have obviously done it.
Yep.
Adelaide before that, they're the only 2. So
yeah, they won it from 5th against 5th and 98.
Yep.
Adelaide.
Yep.
But that was a different finals system too.
It was
back then. So they should have been out after we beat them in the first final.
And they got on a run and got rolling. So as I said, we will head down into the West Coast Eagles rooms very, very shortly. It was a little bit uncharacteristic at the end from Richmond. You said it, they should have iced it, but where did they go awry? Because, I mean, sitting up here, I did have the sense, I thought, this is the kind of game that they'll be good enough to just ice and do exactly what they need to and make sure they win, but they weren't able to.
Dave said it too, like their forwards do get high, and when they go quick, and if they're fatigued and gassed and they're going quick, like even Dusty then too, they just blaze away and just probably assume and hope that those forwards are going to connect again inside 50. But when they're not there, and as West Coast are so set up well behind the ball, sometimes you just got to pull it back and just wait for your numbers to arrive, just to be able to maybe, and then change angles again, just to be able to find that uncontested mark inside and just take some heat out of it. They just don't do it. They just get it in there and hope their smalls get in there, and Crum, and so a lot depends on Jack and Coleman Jones to be able to get back and clunk the thing.
Can I ask, and you brought it up, well, we all spoke about it during the call, but just your overall thoughts. You've seen a full game in the flesh now of what Luke Edwards has been able to bring. Just his second game at 19. Watched on the telly last week against Carlton, and I remember speaking to the Sydney experts in Ty Kennelly and Ryan O'Keefe on Friday, just off air. What did you make of his? I thought he was really impressive, and they said, yeah, he was very good. I have to judge how he goes up against stiffer opposition. Well, he got that tonight. I thought he was tremendous.
Yeah. Composed. in and around the contest.
Second game.
Yeah, in and around the contest with his hands, just to be able to absorb the heat and understand and know where his players are, shape the footy by hand to players in better areas to then be able to go and use it by foot. I thought it was terrific. And just, again, by foot too, to make good decisions with it. Very sound technically. And, it was very good.
Yeah, I think that was the absolute highlight of his game. He just took the really easy option. The second game, he can get a bit overawed or want to do a bit too much, try and bite a bit too much from the cherry, but just did the really basics things really well, continuously, and built a really nice game.
He looks like he's going to be a steal at 52.
And Adelaide will be sitting back thinking, oh no, because he is the son of Tyson Edwards, 309 games, dual premiership player, and could have been a father-son to the Adelaide Crows, and they've maybe missed one there.
So this is the younger brother of...
Yeah, they took the older brother.
The older one.
Name escapes me at this point.
Yeah, apologies for that.
And then they've taken... West Coast have taken Luke, so done very, very well, the West Coast Eagles with Luke Edwards. Second highest possessions for the West Coast Eagles today with 27. Jack Redden led the way with 32. So, 27 for Edwards, 5 marks, 4 inside 50s, 11 contested possessions, clearance in amongst all of that. And as you guys mentioned, what you don't see there was really his cleanliness of the ball.
Even the other two, I thought Foley was terrific, and particularly early. His first half was a lot more influential than his second half. He sort of faded away. But again, as Dave said, just simple things. But he wanted the ball in his hand. He wasn't shying away from, give it to me. I want to take control of it. And same as Harry Edwards too, down back. Playing on a really important player for him, and key, and won some crucial contests. Even that last, I think Barras kicked it to him in the D50. He played on, didn't blaze, lowered his eyes, hit, I think, Yowie, and then Yowie rolled and went. And that's with a minute to go. So just, again, composed and not panicking in the right moments.
Just to clarify again, Jackson Edwards was the brother that they took on their rookie list. He spent one season on there and then was delisted.
Yeah.
So
I knew it wasn't long, but
no. But again, this is not an Adelaide bat,
no,
by the way. But it's just when you see a second gamer be as cool and composed as he was tonight, made the right decisions when he needed to. Yeah, that's a really impressive effort by a young man of just 19 years of age. I'll ask you both, probably a bit unfair with you, David, but I'll ask you, Shane, as well. Feel free to dive in. Do you reassess where West Coast is now, about their chances? I know it's going to be awfully tough for them to finish top 4, but with a performance like that and knowing that they will get players back, which has always been the thing that I think West Coast fans have been sort of hanging their hopes on. They had a terrible run of injuries and injuries to their keys. I know they're not the only club that have had that, but after this bye, you would suspect that they will get McGovern back, they will get Kelly back, and then they'll be able to set up a run, because after the bye, they do have one more tough one, which is the Bulldogs from memory.
That's here too, isn't it?
It is. Let me have a look. Yes, it is the 15. Bulldogs here. And then there's Sydney away, and North, and Adelaide, and St Kilda, and Collingwood. And that's a good chance to go on a good run. I know the cliche is never look more than one game ahead, but for the supporters and the media, we'll look at that and think that's a good run before they then get another genuine test against Melbourne, and then the Derby, where anything can happen, and then Brisbane in round 23. So if you're a West Coast supporter, I reckon you would have thought after the game against the Bombers, well, we're just going to make up the numbers. But with that sort of effort against the defending Premier, I know they were in 8th spot, but also they answered one of the great questions. Can they fight their way through a final term? They answered that tonight.
Emphatically. Yep. It gives you great belief, no doubt, and which is important in a footy club. I think, you got injuries, you got young players coming through, and, you trust in them as well to be able to play their role and be as good as what they are, and just to keep grinding away and find ways. Sometimes you just got to find a way to win, and, there's system as well, and there's a bit of talent, but sometimes you just got to grind it, and I thought they were just terrific in the last. It was just a contest again.
And the question becomes really, we spoke about it earlier, I think you have to be in the top 4 to win it. History suggests that. So they move to 8 and 5 now. Let me do some maths on the run here, which is dangerous, but it's 13 games played. They've got 22. You usually need, 16 15, 16 to finish
16,
top 4, yeah.
16 is a general rule.
Yeah. So can they get that? That would mean they need to win 8 of their remaining. There's too many numbers in my head. Someone help me out.
What have they got left? I'll just count them up with my fingers, Ben. That's all.
Should have another
1, 2, 3,
9.
4, 5,
Probably a
6,
bit
7,
hard.
8, 9. Yeah, so they need to win 8 of 9.
Just tough.
Maybe 7 if they're lucky.
Yeah, but I think the last fortnight has shown they're making good strides. You know, winning at the SCG last week with a really depleted side, it's a big tick for them. Winning away from home is always difficult for the West Australian teams, and you know both West Coast and Fremantle are dealing with it in their ways. But yeah, to win that and then to fight through tonight, a real four-quarter performance and get the chocolates at the very end, I think it's very promising signs. And yeah, the kind of players, the calibre of players they've got waiting in the wings to come back, hopefully soon for the West Coast people. I think it puts them in good stead.
Gee, the Bulldogs game after the bye is a massive one.
It is.
If they can get that, and also what it does is it damages a team that's currently sitting in the top 4 because you need to dislodge someone as well. So, yeah, that'll be a huge game because then they do have, outsider looking in, a very winnable run of games to get themselves up and about as more and more players return and get themselves some fitness.
Did they go back to Sydney as well, the Doggies?
Don't know the answer to that.
No, they went back to Melbourne.
They went home.
Yeah, they went home because they had the bye. So Richmond get the bye now. And, I mean, West Coast accepted to move the game forward. They were, well, I guess nice in that sense that they allowed the game to be moved forward so that Richmond could enjoy their bye because
I
might have had a few more players back.
I reckon if they'd said no, they might have been told.
Yes. Quite possibly.
They've done the right thing by the league when they said, OK, we'll move the game. I'm not sure it was really going to be given to them as an option whether or not you wanted to move it. But having said that, it does make it an even more impressive effort because no matter what they were saying beforehand, Adrian Hickmott, we know we're flexible and agile these days, but they would have been planning for the bye. Mm-hmm. And they would have been thinking, we'll get there and then we'll get a couple of players back and then we'll set ourselves up again for the second half of the season. And all of a sudden you go from having a bye and then playing this next Thursday to then one of the most, imposing sights you could have, even if you are at home, which is the Richmond Footy Club.
Yeah, they'll be really happy now.
Absolutely, yeah. I think and again, that probably backs up their prep leading into the game because there's been so many changes in the last 18 months in all of our lives, but another change comes and your automatic thought is, oh, no, what's this mean and all that kind of stuff, and you run your ramifications off the back of that, and I'm sure there would have been a lot of guys planning to get away, get out of town and relax and unwind mentally and physically. So, yeah, to dial back in and have a big week on the track, I imagine, and come out and put on a performance like we've seen tonight is a big tick.
Big tick.
If nothing else, it was a great game of footy.
Yeah.
How good was it to watch?
Yeah. And another spectacle for the other side of the country to go, footy goes all right over here.
Yeah.
We put on a great display.
Let's head down into the West Coast Eagles' victorious rooms. Steve Allen is down there with a special guest.
Thank you very much, Ben. I've got Nick Natanui with me, and we've had Josh Kennedy. He kicked the winner a moment ago that he's been judging his kids' colouring in competition for the last few moments. Nick, has he kicked many better than that in his time?
I've seen him kick a lot of goals over his career, so that was one of the better ones. Obviously, how tight the game was. He knew I couldn't get it done, so he ended up doing it in the end, but he's always a reliable kick for goal.
It felt like a different game after three-quarter time. When did you think you might have had them?
It was an arm wrestle all day. I think, to win the contest and get some ascendancy, especially from clearances, was a big thing for us, especially late. And Elliot Yeo showed that he could put his cape on and be Superman for a bit, and that obviously went towards helping us win.
How big a win was it for you?
Pretty big. Obviously, Richmond's been a benchmark for the last few years, and to beat them, it's been a while for us. So, it's just a good, momentum builder leading into the bye, especially for the belief for some of the younger boys that have been playing, young guys like Lukey Edwards and the crew. So, a really big win for the football club.
I'll send you upstairs. We've got Ben Cameron, Clint Wheeldon, Shane Woden and David Mundy.
Nick, Dave Mundy here, mate. Well played tonight. I'm just curious, in the last quarter when you come into a CSB, do you tell the mids, this is where I'm going to put it, get it done, or is it more of a discussion?
I go and tell them. We've got Luke Shuey in my ear as soon as I go to the bench, and I'm on the bench a fair bit, so he's in my ear too much. But he sort of gets the plan going, and I go and tell him where I can and can't put it, and just make sure you're strong enough to get there.
Well, I imagine the can't put it area is quite small. And a nice little clunk mark in the forward 50 tonight. That must have felt nice, floating forward in front of the pack like that.
Yeah, it was good to get forward late. Just got to finish off my work.
And last one from me. In the last quarter, it was really noticeable up in the box here, but the crowd really got going and behind you guys, particularly when you started to get some field dominance. Do you feel that as a player out there?
Yeah, it's a really big lift. Obviously, the last season not having too many crowds and being away for the majority of it, it's a long time since we've experienced that kind of noise. So really big, confidence booster, especially for guys like Liam and Ryan who really thrive off that. So it was good to hear the blue and gold loud again.
Nick, Shane Woden up here. Well done, mate.
Thanks,
Terrific
mate.
Result. And mate, what was Simo's message at three-quarter time?
Oh, just to be brave. He told our guys to be brave. I think young Harry Edwards even took it on late and just started bouncing the ball. So just giving the young boys the licence to do so was the biggest thing, and there was nothing to lose. So, he gave us that advice, but it was probably your advice before the game, mate, just to go out and win. So I thank you for that. Thank you.
You're terrific tonight, mate. You had a fair bit of ball. And mate, talk us through that first snag you kicked in the first quarter. Just, mate, you're always going for it, weren't you?
Oh, I think if you kick it high, mate, you let the wind do the work, and it went in. So I was lucky. I fluked that. I'd say I fluked that, but it was a lucky little start to the game.
Mate, I was really impressed, and it was a terrific victory last week in Sydney, and you're able to do what you do as a footy club. But tonight I was really impressed with your kids who have just come in, played minimal footy, but I just thought how composed they are on the big stage, and they've only played a couple of games each. I thought Edwards, both Edwards boys. Who else?
Yeah, Foley down back.
Foley down back I thought was terrific in the first half, and just composed all night, and just making simple decisions, doing the basics really well for you.
Yeah, mature heads. Some of those boys have been around for a number of years, and it's been hard for them. They haven't had the opportunity because we've had such a solid backline in McGovern and Barras and some of the other guys who've retired over the last 2 years in Schofield and Jeddah. So for them to actually get an opportunity with, unfortunate injuries at the moment, they really stepped into that role and they're thriving. So they're mature for their young age.
Nick, Clint Wilden, you haven't spoken enough about that goal, which was magnificent. And crumbing as well off Jack Darling. What was the thoughts? Well, tell us the thought process when you swung the boot at it.
Just kicking hope. I spent enough time at training kicking with Liam Ryan, so we have enough of those shots. I got to practice the set shots from about 38 because those are the ones that I miss.
Oh, okay. How big a win in the context of the season? Because you're down by 22 points. Bolton puts them in front. The Eagles haven't been great in final terms. To show the competition what you can do in that final quarter, can you put into words how big a win that was for the Eagles?
Yeah, massive. The same as last week. I think our fourth quarters have been notably not as great as they have been in the past, and the last 2 weeks we've shown we've been able to stay strong and fight it out. And I think it's big for the footy club, good for all the boys. Confidence, like I said earlier, and we just got to keep doing it for the rest of the year. I think there's a few teams that are in that top four kind of contention at the moment, and that wing's going to go a long way to keeping us around that spot.
No disrespect to the players who've come in. You mentioned a couple, and they have been terrific. But do you get a feeling that the reinforcements are just about to start coming back over the hill after the bye?
Yeah, those old boys have to get through Leaderville Oval next Saturday. So get down if you can and come and watch the boys, because there's going to be a star-studded West Coast team. I think Shuey, McGovern might play. There's Witherden. There's a few boys, so I'm actually excited to see those boys come and then earn their spot back in the team next week.
And just one last one from me, but excited to have Willie Rioli back. We know he's back in 7 days' time. I guess the club puts its arms around him. How exciting will it be to see him again at the West Coast Eagles?
Yeah, really exciting. He's been here for a couple of weeks, and he hasn't been able to come into the footy club or train with us. So a few boys have just caught up with him one-on-one externally, but he's excited to get back. He's wanting to prove himself and win back some of the trust from all the boys and the coaching staff and the West Coast supporters. So he's another excitement machine that will come in handy towards the back end of the year.
Nick, last one, the bye got changed. Did you, or were you, inconvenienced by any holiday plans that you had to change?
No, I was pretty good. I'm pretty lucky. I've got a few friends that live down south, so my plans I could change last minute, but a few of the tight asses in our team were pretty angry because they couldn't get their deposits back on some of their houses that they booked for last week. So
name names.
Gaff, Darling. I don't know. There's a few boys. I reckon half the team. But, footy players get paid enough money, they can afford the $200 deposit.
Yeah, we called Jack T-Rex at school because his arms couldn't reach his pockets, Nick. So I'll let you go on that note. I appreciate you having a chat to us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Good on you, Nick. Nick Natanui.
Nick Natanui. Yep.
Is that true?
Nah.
You just made it up.
I've given it to a few of my mates, so we call them T-Rex. The hands don't quite reach down into the pockets. Let's go to the press conference with Damien Hardwick and just have a listen to what he has to say in defeat.
Amazing game from a spectacle point of view. What's sort of happened in the last 10 minutes? What's your snap assessment?
Oh, we just lack composure. The composure at the forward end cost us all night, and unfortunately, composure at the back end cost us late as well. That was the key word of the night for mine. So we had opportunities where, I thought we could have scored, but we went too quick inside forward 50. We spoke about it all day, and unfortunately, we just couldn't adhere to the plan. So it was disappointing. Then at the back end, the composure hurt us again. We just rushed the ball and, lost our sense of what we're trying to achieve. And look, in fairness, West Coast played a great brand of footy as well. And for the compound of that, we had 38 giveaway turnovers, which are just skill execution errors. So that probably hurt us all night as well.
The bit that's banter talking about was whether Liam Ryan's kick travelled the required distance. Did you?
Well, I can't fix that, mate. So.
We've seen it earlier, though, when the AFL said they had a mistake. Does that bother you?
No. Look, they, end of the day, he was great all night. I think they kicked 8 goals from outside 40. Their goal kicking's amazing. It always has been. It's one thing. They do have long shots on goals through shallow entries, but they just managed to kick their goals. We probably didn't take as many opportunities as they did, and he's a great player, Josh Kennedy, and kicked a remarkable goal really towards the back end.
As a rival club, how do you look at that goal kicking? Because it is a trend for them. What do you make of it? Why are they?
I don't know. You're better off asking Adam, I suppose. But they're just wonderful set shots. I think they kicked 1 goal from general play tonight, and the rest of them were all set shots. So, yeah.
You got 22 up on them, Damien, in that fourth quarter. Was it just the last 10 minutes where you noticed the composure lacking, or were there?
No, it was at the start at the forward end as well. I thought we had some really good looks going inside 50, but just rushed. We, like I said, our skill execution wasn't to its usual level. Decision-making errors are lumped in with that as well. And unfortunately, when you leave some goals on the table, a good side will come back and bite you on the backside. I thought we dominated the first quarter at various stages and throughout the night as well, and just couldn't quite get the scoreboard reward we're after, which leaves sides, open to attacking against you. And the last quarter, I thought they were all over us really, but we still had opportunities where we could have nailed the game, but just didn't.
So that was Damien Hardwick speaking after the loss for Richmond, conceded the final 4 goals. West Coast winning by 4 points earlier today. In case you're just catching up, it was a draw between North and GWS, the first draw of the AFL season, 14-10-94 apiece. Last piece of housekeeping. We need some votes. Gents, have you guys colluded? Have you got any votes for us yet? Okay, maybe I'll give you a minute while you do that. Clint, can you please give us the final summary of the numbers?
No problems, Ben. Having a look through them, the Eagles by 4 points. Redden had it 32 times, Edwards 27, Hearn 25, Sheed 25 and Gaff 23. While for the Tigers, Lambert with 27 disposals. Worth remembering his first game back in 6 weeks after a calf injury. Hawley with 26 touches, so too short. Martin with 23, Bolton with 23, and Vlosten with 23 as well. The total disposals, the numbers went to Richmond, 384 to 353. The marks were pretty even, very even in fact, 113 to 112 in Richmond's favour. Inside 50s, West Coast 52 to 47, but perhaps telling marks inside 50, 15 to 6 in favour of West Coast. The uncontested possessions, 250 to 216 in favour of Richmond. The contested possessions, dead square, 137 apiece. The clearances to the Eagles, 36 to 29. And in terms of free kicks, West Coast 15, Richmond had 12. The Eagles by 4 points.
And the questions will be asked during the week about whether the kick from Ryan to Kennedy was a 15. Just quickly, as we wrap it up, yes or no, gents?
Yep, pay it.
Yep, it's in the book.
Considering there was about 6 other occasions where we actually throughout the night would say, I'm not sure if that's, at least they were consistently paying reasonably short ones.
Correct. And that's not the reason why they lost either.
No, it's not.
No, you can't put on that.
But if I was a Tigers fan, I'd be up and about.
All right, give us your votes, gents.
Yeah, a lot of players have missed out and are very unlucky to miss out. Pretty hard game to be picking votes, but we've gone this way. One to Nat Newey for his dominance around the stoppages tonight. And to go along with his 20 disposals was terrific. Got the better of Chol as the game wore on, no doubt. 2 to Shannon Hearn. Terrific down back and be able to control his defence. nearly 600 metres gain at 88%. Again, he was terrific. And the 3 to Josh Kennedy with his 4 goals and 15-7 marks. He was really influential and probably the best forward on the ground, no doubt.
There we have it. Nick Naitanui 1 vote, Shannon Hearn 2, Josh Kennedy with the 3. No need to make any adjustments for the Christian medal.
No.
Ollie,
no.
Thanks for your insights across the evening
Great
once
to
again.
see you again, Ben.
Great to see you too. David Mundy, great to see you backing up after playing yesterday. You enjoy your mid-season break.
I will, Ben. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you again as well, backing up beautifully as well in the grandstand box with your, player insight as to how it's all working out there. Clint, great to see you. A big weekend for you. You enjoy a few days off after tomorrow with 3 games in 3 days for you.
Wildcats tomorrow for me,
Oh,
Benny.
yes, sorry.
Yes, game 3.
You've got game 3 tomorrow. You're not quite done yet. You've got a bit of work to do.
Exactly.
Good luck. Enjoy that. A big thank you to Bridget back in the studio, as well as Steve Allen downstairs doing a tremendous job. Our audio technician, Adrian Sardi, doing tremendous stuff on the buttons once again. It was a great game of footy, an entertaining Sunday night, Queen's birthday eve. The Eagles kicking the last 4 goals of the game. Kennedy the winner. He snapped it home. The Eagles winning by 4 points over the Tigers.